Yo, what's happening? It's your boy K.Z.U.P TV. You know, about to hit this session today for we're gonna talk about globe Earth, man. We about to kill this whole theory that people think it's a flat Earth. I don't know why people think it's a flat Earth, but we're gonna get into it and give you a couple reasons why that this Earth is round. But before I do, take a quick break. Yeah, it's your boy, 1300. But today came to politics to you about the world you was living in. You know, yeah, okay, K.Z.U.P. Yeah, and they tried it, and they lied and multiplied it. Okay, let me tell you. From the Virgos, from tomorrow, from the day and yesterday, they try to tell you that we were slaves. I tell them, fuck the United. Wait, line you up with skates, iron to your face. Tell you what it really ain't. Tell you that you was a slave and didn't know he was a king. Man, I dropped the link down there for y'all, man. Y'all want to debate anything I got to say? Making money, they making money, they taking money, all black, call it Jamaican money. Yeah, tell them we got what it takes. But they take swollen with the stakes. Raise the stakes, now they made the weight. So tell them wait. Man, fuck the United. Hey, hold up. In your chest like, yeah, I know you feeling stressed like. They told you that. They told you black. They told you that. They told you whack. They tried to tell you Columbus found it, and the Mexicans walking there from the first day, lying in your face from the Aztecs, blast texts, ass necks, when they crucify the king. Hardcore kamikaze type, coming up, when they make ninjas, then they killing competition. Break you up like ancient. Brain gone, ignorance, now you never know. Knowing what it takes, or what it took, now they shaking hooks. Yeah, sit back and just take a look. How they put colors against colors, now they cross brothers, like cross brothers, they cross brothers. Now we all lost brothers, you lost brother. I'm trying to tell you about the life they lead. And the feet, yeah, they like the hand and feet. But they don't really tell about how we walk on our hands and feet. They give you paper. Just mine. Niggas said, niggas that we all mine. But the paper, so they don't own that. Now they gotta roll back. You in the South Dakotas, Indiana's Las Vegas. Yeah, coming through the crosshairs when niggas had more in their room. Now I'm in the air like a sparrow. I'm moving in my Camaro, moving 90. Police behind me, yeah, it's kind of shiny, but I ain't see it. I can't see it. We got clips on the European. All right, we're gonna get into this. It's your boy K.Z.U.P. I'm gonna start the day off with talking about spherical Earth. Now they've been talking about spherical Earth since the 5th century BC. That was mentioned. Now I'm gonna get into some facts because I'm about to do this one take Jake shit. But I'm gonna get into some facts that y'all flat earthers need to know why that the Earth is a globe. Now, I'm gonna start off with first saying that I've told somebody this before. We had a debate. One of the simplest things that you can look to see that this Earth is in a sphere shape is the test of when you have a boat sailing out in sea. When the boat sail out so far, you're not going to see the boat
no more. If you can see just straight, and it disappear right before your eyes, that means that the Earth is a globe. Now, you got facts like it's a horizon. I mean, it's different times. I mean, like, have you ever, took a trip across the country? You going through different time zones. I mean, if you got any brains, if you going through time zones, it's 10 o'clock now, it's 2 o'clock, or you know, and you going like you in a jet or something. You going through different time zones. That could not say anything about the Earth being flat. Just for the simple fact that you got sun rays beaming in different directions. I mean, I know people use the light on the ball theory, but if you use that, you can tell that we are a globe. I mean, watching the lunar eclipse, you can see the evidence that the Earth is round. The Earth passes between the moon and the sun. So, the sun projects the Earth's shadow onto the moon in the night sky. Now, you probably seen a partial lunar eclipse, without even noticing. But, if the moon looks orange, that's a sign of lunar eclipse. I mean, I can understand. That's projecting the shadow. You ever see somebody project like the bat signal in the old Batman movie? When they shine that on that, it's gonna show the projection of that bat shape, and that's the same thing that it's doing with the Earth and or the sun and the moon, and you see that those are circles. I mean, like I said, man, you can't if you ain't waking up in China and waking up in America at the same time, you have to see that the sun is hitting different. You know, I mean, it's common sense. I don't understand how people don't believe that we got astronauts and people is flying up there. I mean, this ain't make believe. I know we got some pretty good CGI. But even the CGI films that I see that mocks globe Earth, it still don't look as perfect because it's real. I mean, if you see it, you gotta believe it. I mean, I know how TV got deceptions, and you gotta, take precautions in what you see. You just can't be a fool. But I mean, people like to use their arguments about gravity. The fact is, it's gravity, and another fact is, no one fully knows about gravity. So you can't really say, "Oh, I know this about gravity," or "I can't know this ain't gravity because of this." I mean, I think people need to watch. All you got to do, really. I mean, if you want to take time out, I mean, I think a lot of y'all flat earthers do because you quick to tell a globe earther to go check out a flat Earth channel or something. But just Google pictures from the International Space Station. I mean, it's like y'all saying that makes it void if you got to look at the International Space Station or NASA or something like that. But all you got to do is simply just Google it, and it's gonna show you different different pictures, different angles they have, how it works. I mean, I was watching a show where they were showing a re-entry, a because I was fascinated how to get re-entry and get their speed up. But when I saw how the things they got to do, like they not just making this up, they dropped the module. They had some little extra springs and boosters to beam it up, to speed it up just a little bit, just to give it a little kick, because they understand that the Earth is a globe and they going around it, and you got to be in orbit, and you can either get sucked in or out of the orbit, but you're trying to get sucked in, and they have all this protective stuff over the capsule. Other stuff blows away and disintegrates just to execute a successful trip. And it's people with jobs doing these stuff. I've heard scientists saying that, they're not just sitting there staring at walls. They're not just sitting there staring at walls. They had these teams going out to retrieve the capsules. I mean, you have endless data. You have simple actions that you can see on Earth that you should see that they have the power to do that. People, I don't know, if people know how strong an X-ray is, but like it's supposed to be an X-ray. I mean that's because I watch a lot of shows and stuff. News. Um, it's something out in the galaxy that supposedly has X-ray potential to just wipe out planets with that much. That's much basically saying that's how much power it holds. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it, but I think our technology had progressed, you know, really, really far to where you can tell that this stuff works. So if you ever was to take an X-ray, you should believe that they have power to have satellites and different things like that. What's happening, Pete Shea? Pete Shea?
Hey, hey, how you doing?
I'm all right. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
Hey, hey, man, not too bad, not too bad. An open discussion about flat Earth, that should be interesting.
Yeah, yeah. What is your take on it?
Well, I will say I'm a flat earther since I guess 2013 after due consideration. There's no going back. But when you get to realize that there's much more to the story, I think that's the whole overall point. The Earth can be said to be flat and still in relation to the spinning ball, right? But what Earth actually is, that's something different again.
Okay. And on so how would you feel about, just traveling through different time zones? How could you, be a flat, believe in the flat earth when you can travel and go through different time zones?
Well,
What could
listen,
explain
yeah, I mean, time is a man-made creation, and time relates to the passage of the sun. So, if the sun is doing a certain thing, that's one thing. To translate that to the Earth doing something, that's something different again. So the time zones, yeah, it comes back to how, your relation to where the sun is at, and then you'll experience daylight or nighttime or whatever. So I don't see any problem. I mean, for you yourself, is that a stumbling block for you? Can you not figure out that the Earth doesn't need to be a globe to have time zones?
Well, I would say that it would have to be a globe just for the simple fact that how the sun projects. So we would have to be spinning tilted on our axis just for the cause of seasons and the reason that Antarctica is so cold down there because it's obviously getting more light, uh,
Okay.
sun rays.
Well, why can it not be instead of the Earth not going to having a tilt or going to different necessary movements? Why can the Earth not be still and the sun not be as distant as it's made out, but the sun going through all these different movements? How would you answer that?
Well, we have two other planets in between that's actually, taking the punishment from the sun. So I would have to believe that the calculations would be, pretty much on point, and it would have to be that big.
Well,
And
you say you have to believe. Why do you have to believe anything? I mean, this is the whole point about this line of questioning flat Earth, globe Earth. It's about the individual questioning what they believed from authorities, in inverted commas, school teachers, professors, whatever, the education establishment. So I mean, if you look at Venus, Mars, or whatever yourself through a telescope, you'll see something very different than what is presented. So that's my point.
well, and you believe what you see, and that's the point. Once you understand that we're all stars, we all are the same. Even people and everything they find have something that have to do with stardust in it, and you can look up with your own eyes and see that everything is spheres, whether you're looking for a telescope or looking through the bare naked eye. Everything else is up here is made out of a sphere, and it's a whole bunch of other politics about gravity and pressure, but I think that's what all through solar flares or whatever. I think that sends the vibrations to have everything uh similar shaped. The only argument I can believe of is Saturn, and even if we already can see from the data we collected, even Saturn when it's flat it's not even, it's nothing compared to this. So how could this be anything like, say, living on the rings of Saturn? If you can see everything else is made of a sphere, why would we be so different?
Well, first of all, you have chosen to believe what everything else is based on what we've been told, right? So the universe is as given. I like it the way you say we're all stars. We are, in a sense. I've made some amazing discoveries myself, and one of the things that I talk about is Ri Starkus, which I say is the only star. When we look up at the night sky, my friend, we're looking at reflections off of a watery barrier. And just to answer you, and you can check this out yourself, as you from high altitude balloon footages or images, right? You can go. There's many of Dwayne Kellum has many, and there's many around the internet, right? So as you go above the atmosphere, which is full of water particulation or water vapor, and the distortion lifts, you will see something very different indeed than a spherical sun. It's not a sphere at all, my friend. And it's these sort of things that we have the ability now to sort of clarify for ourselves. There's nothing stopping you from. You don't have to get a high altitude balloon yourself and set up the equipment, get the footage. You can just go online and see what many other genuine efforts present. But yeah, the point being that when you go beyond a certain point, then the sun, when the water, we all know water will transform what you see, will affect what you see when you're looking through it. But yeah, when you take away that water in the atmosphere, then something very, very different than a sphere sun jumps out at us every time as well. So yeah, the sum up the point is we have to go away from assuming that we know what these things are. We have to sort of bring everything back to a base level of questioning as individuals, I would say.
Hmm.
But I like what you have to say about stars. And isn't it funny that the originator of the heliocentric model, which just takes the Earth away from the center and has everything revolving around the sun, is said to be Aristarchus of Samos. Now, I hold none of these characters existed, my friend, and a greater sort of story is interwoven into our reality here. And well, in one sense, maybe that's what life is about: us figuring out the true nature of it. It has to be about something, right? We can't be born knowing everything. Otherwise, maybe there'd be no purpose to life. You know,
Well,
that's what I
yeah.
think.
Yeah. Well, in some of my religious speakings, I speak of the Tower of Babel, and just I use that for reference as we weren't meant to know everything.
Hmm.
You know.
It's interesting, and even with the Bible, you see, there's so many different. Do you know, my friend, one of the biggest organized forces in flat Earth are the Bible literalists. I don't know if you've familiarized yourself with the scene itself, but it has been very busy over the last 3 or 4 years. So there's lots of different characters in place, and one of the organized groups in place are the Bible literalists. And I think myself, the purpose is once we come to realize that we've been lied to on such a mass scale, especially about the nature of our planet, then we're looking for consolation, looking for comfort, and in steps the Bible literalists. And we've done away with the Big Bang and billions of years of Earth's evolution, and we're brought back to 6,000 years. So I think that that's a little trap in itself. I don't deny the creator or anything like that, but I also don't think that the creator is one dimensional. You know what I mean? We were all told the literal truth in terms of the Bible when we were children. We were here in Ireland anyway. So to come and realize everything else was a lie, a transgression against the truth, well, to take something so fundamental as being the whole truth and nothing but the truth, then, especially at this point, I think is very, very dangerous and, in one sense, very insidious, because you're dealing with lots of lonely, isolated people. People who talk about flat Earth, you're not only going to get shunned online, you're going to get shunned in real life. You're crazy. That's crazy talk, you know. So, yeah, it is certainly a poisoned well, all of this.
Yeah, but yeah, what you saying about being a flat earther or a globe earther? Like,
A flat earther, man. All flat earthers, for the most part anyway, came from being globe earthers, and generally have a good education as well around it. I certainly do myself. I have a
yeah,
degree in mechanical engineering from a university here in Ireland, in Limerick, and I had an active interest in science. I believed all of this stuff. Why wouldn't you? You put your faith in all of these. How can you compete against all of the greatest minds in history, all building upon each other's innovative genius? Before you know it, then the whole truth and nothing but the truth is laid out before you. And what can you do as a humble man, a humble mind, but just accept it, right? That's what I did until well, now I know what it comes back to, my friend. It all comes back to whether the earth moves or not. And if you look to any of these great geniuses, the earth's movement is always assumed. That's the beginning point. So the earth is moving. Let's see, we place everything else within the picture, describe what they are, and then do the maths. So, yeah, if the earth doesn't move, then everything changes because based on our universal experience with water, water proves a flat earth, right? So water at every level will always be flat when still. So if the Earth isn't moving, well then, it has to be flat. It can't be a ball can't enter the equation based on our understanding of these properties of water.
see, what I tried to use for example is this. I was like on Jurassic Park. They have like this this gyro ball, and this ball is moving, but everything inside of the ball is still staying flat. And that's the same thing if you was to take water. If you was to take water and fill that same type of ball up with 70% of water and move it gradually, the water is still going to be down towards the bottom, just like our oceans. And you would may just say some speckled dots from the top to simulate uh, cloud.
Well, I mean, show me water sticking to the surface of a sphere. It doesn't happen like that. And I'm sure, look, all of these things are possible. Of course, everything is possible. This is where the mind comes into things. Pandora's box has been opened with the world of possibilities. What you've got to decide is the reality of things. So when you talk about Jurassic Park, of course, you know about the dinosaur hoax investigations, right? Or possibility anyway. So much of our history is fabricated. And yeah, I can understand your point as a thought experiment, but let's deal with reality.
I
We
see,
told,
and I'm a realist, and I try to stay on reality. And even from that topic, I see. I believe in the dinosaurs just because there's so many with so many names. But on top of, we see the alligators and crocodiles today, and horseshoe
yeah,
crabs.
sure. I mean, you have a myriad, some strange looking creatures in existence, but what going hand in hand with the heliocentric Big Bang model is the evolutionary model. So, I mean, back at the time of the dinosaurs, our ancestors were said to be mouse-like, shrew-like creatures in the ground, and only for the dinosaurs above ground getting wiped the heck out. Our ancestors wouldn't have had the opportunity to strive above ground, and well, as the story goes, transform into us. This is now to me this is nonsense, but it's not nonsense in the sense that you can just throw it all out. Someone's just winding you up with no end to it. I realize that the lie is built on the truth, and that for the most part everything is a metaphor. So if the truth about our reality is already known, and the purpose of life is for us to come to greater realizations, well then that's the way I prefer to look at it, at these different types of stories. There's a greater sort of layer underneath it. So if we take the literal, it's like with the story of Jesus or the Bible in general, as I look at it. If you take the literal, then you sort of lose the greater, deeper meaning. It's through the symbolic and the application to every man that we can garner greater truths. That's my true point of view at this stage. But I did believe that. I did, of course, I did. It's all official history, right? It's all official science.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it's official. And I was talking to a friend earlier. What I said, you have to read the Bible in a metaphoric way.
right.
Me and him, we believe in the same thing, except for we have big differences on flat Earth. So when we go on flat Earth and globe Earth, it gets into different things. But we was talking. I was talking about how my ability to read the Bible and his ability to read the Bible. It basically was different, but I said you got to read it in a metaphoric way, um,
Right.
like
Right.
like
Well,
in
yeah, sorry,
oh,
but
go,
continue.
oh well, yeah, I said you got to read it in a metaphoric way, and when you talking to somebody like that, when you got to read it in uh, 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 a way like that, he would but tell me like, oh, but you got to say the truth or nothing but the truth, or it ain't right, or you can't do this because you ain't really believing in God. Because
Hmm.
if you say that, because he was saying that how how had said he hate white people, but it was a certain verse that he called a white female a dog, and I was trying to tell him that, I mean, you may have read it like that, like you said, it's a bitch or whatever. But I said it. But why is a dog so bad? And why, like, why still is that a bad thing that he was describing? He might have said that those two white people were scavengers in a metaphoric way, like will eat anything or something, or why saying the dog, and
Okay,
so
that's interesting. And we note that dog is God backwards, so there's certainly a reason for that. But I just sort of didn't mean to interrupt you. But what I was going to say, isn't it very interesting? Just say with the Bible and with the globe Earth. So what I would say to you is, so what you are doing is taking the Bible metaphorically, which is the way I say it should be read, but you're taking the globe Earth literally. So what I always say to flat earthers, we need to look at the spinning globe as a metaphor for Earth as is, as a whole. So isn't that interesting? Are you willing to look at the globe Earth as a metaphor?
uh yeah, basically, I use globe Earth as a metaphor,
Excellent.
just for simple the fact that I'm a realist and I like to take the facts. You
Right.
know what I mean? And I mean,
Excellent.
it's certain facts. That's why I try to use the facts of, basically, just use your bare eyes and look at the moon and sun, and or or the telescope, and look at other planets, and you can tell that it is still a sphere.
No, you can't tell it's a sphere.
And
You can tell it's something circular in the sky, but look, if you take your child out and ask them, is that moon that you see there far or near? They'll say that's near. It's the same with the sun. When a wispy cloud comes across the sun between you and it, and the temperature significantly drops, how are you going to explain to your daughter or son that this is a flaming ball a million miles across, a million miles away in empty space? It doesn't make any sense. But I say you'd be a flat earther in no time because look. people, I'm in Ireland here. I take it you're in America somewhere, my friend. There's no way
Yeah.
we're at any sort of an angle to one another. If I point up now at this very minute and you point up, we are pointing in the same direction. If I had some rocket sort of boots that I had the ability to travel over to you this minute and I kept pointing up, as I arrived to you, we'd be both pointing up in the same direction. Whereas you'd have to say that, we're pointing off at a obtuse angle to one another based on a relation on a sphere ball. It makes no sense outside of the imagination. We have to imagine that that is the case. So that's all I would say.
And you
Yeah.
absolutely right. But now here's where you get the spear at, man. The spear is the cosmic egg. You live inside of a spear, and inside of the spear, hold up, bro. Inside of the spear is flat. You understand what I'm saying? It's sort of like filling up a ball with
Right.
water
I'm with you,
halfway.
man.
Now, in the middle of that ball that you filled up with water is where people live at. They want you to believe we live on top of the cosmic egg, and that's where
Right.
it's so forced at.
Right. Well, listen, one of the big things with flat earthers, they deny space, and that's fair enough. Empty space is impossible as given. But what has replaced the vacuum of space, I ask flat earthers? I don't generally deal too seriously with
No,
ball earthers
no,
anymore.
we don't talk about it because we know the firmament is protecting us from something,
Right.
right?
Right.
We
So
just
let me,
don't know what it is. But we
right.
know
Well,
everything we see in the sky is under the dome. But we don't know
we,
what's on the other side of the
we
dome,
do,
so it's
bud.
hard to.
We do.
How
We
you
do.
never broke the dome?
Yes, it was broken, bud. And where do you think all the Earth's oceans came from?
All of the Earth's what ocean?
Oceans.
I don't know. Explain. Explain. It's deep.
So if you look up underwater cities, at some point there was a massive inundation on Earth, and this is when the barrier was broken. We live in a collapsed system, right, externally and internally. But
What's
let
up?
me just
Hey,
say,
what's up, Sir James? Sir Drop.
Hold
I,
up, Bert.
Hey,
hey,
let
listen,
him finish right quick,
yeah,
Johnny.
I was
He
just going to
dropping
say
it too.
regarding the cosmic egg, right, and the sphere as a metaphor. If there's waters
Yeah,
beyond an
Tony, go
Earth
play ball.
realm,
Hey,
I,
hold on right quick, dude. Hey, Shiny.
They
Hey,
get a
press the
building to say
mute
like
button
six,
on
seven
your
games. I'm
Shiny.
like, that's gonna hurt.
Hey,
I'm out.
Shiny.
Check.
Good. Shiny. Hey, press that
Q.
little microphone if you ain't talking, so your
Oh, my
mic will
bad.
mute.
My
All right,
bad.
go ahead, dude.
Yeah. Let me just say, I just wanted to say, just in regards to the cosmic egg, this is how I understand it. There is a toroidal field, or there was anyway, when Earth was intact, which was separating the waters beyond, and which is what gave us the cosmic egg, or the globe, right? The Earth is the realm in which the Earth finds itself and what it's separated from, and that is waters beyond. But because we're in a collapsed state, the barrier collapsed. We had an inundation of these waters, and well, here we are. Here we find ourselves asking these questions. I say we're divided within as Earth is divided without. So yeah, the
Also, when you
toroidal
say
field. That's what the
divided the
apple
heaven,
represents. Yeah, the
so you
apple
saying
represents
in
the
the
toroidal
scriptures.
field of an intact Earth. But the apple was bitten, right? So the barrier collapsed, and we're in a sort of a state of division. So sorry for interrupting.
No, so you saying, damn, you made me forget what I'm saying. What the fuck? Y'all go ahead.
He said the apple was bitten and the barriers collapsed, and
Right,
that let the water in, basically.
Oh no, I
right. So
was
think
about to say this. I was about to say this. So in the scriptures, when they say he divided the heavens amongst the waters, that's what he's saying, baby.
Right. This is it. And remember, we are not the material only. This is why where heliocentrism and the big bangers come into things. The Big Bang reference is the sexual act where the sperm meets the egg and our material universe comes into being. Now remember, most of us are probably I'm 47, very young age, right? So for us to sort of be contemplating these greater questions, I think is fantastic. And it's also a sign of the times, right? That's what I think. The truth has been laid bare. So, but you definitely have to come to flat Earth. But Earth can't be said to be flat as a whole, because Earth is something different, right?
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Well, I mean that in a sense. Let me just be more clear. Earth is flat in the same way that the stump of a tree, a recently felled tree, is flat. Only in a particular sense, right? Because of course the tree has all its roots intact underground. So that's what I would say to that. I don't know if any of you have seen the video "No Forests on Flat Earth." By the way, if you haven't, you got to look at that. It changes. It changed everything back in 2015, and well, there's no sort of going back from it. Once giant crystalline trees. I will ask anybody what sand is, and if man is made from the dust of what? Earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. If you go to the beach and you notice the sand, notice how at a certain point the sand will transform into earth, right? So what's going on there? These are all deeper considerations, but you have to get to flat Earth. You have to realize that people in Australia, people in the opposite side of the Earth to you right now, that you could go to, you can get on your plane and fly level across and land down. They're not upside down to you. They're just over across the way. That's a basic thing we have to get back to, I think.
Yeah, but when you talking about, well, but that's what people don't want to talk about that. But I mean, when you talk about gravity, I can see simply why you wouldn't be upside down though. Like, what is it? If you on one side, you can see Polaris, and then what is it? If you in Australia, you can't see it
Right,
no more. So if
right.
you in Australia and you can't see Polaris no more, and you still on the ground and the Earth is flat, there should be no reason for you not to see it no more. If that's where everybody's saying is at, if you saying flat Earth.
Sure, sure. And my reason against that is, first of all, what's going on in the sky is different from what's going on on Earth. We have a collapsed barrier, and when we look at the skylights, all the skylights are reflections of a singular earthbound source against this watery barrier. A watery barrier. We know water is reflective. The barrier itself is an invisible energy barrier. Earth breathes, right? So Polaris is a projection against the barrier, which is of a fixed distance, is a fixed range to the barrier. At its maximum height, it's 60 miles up, given by the Kármán line distance. So, due to perspective, as you move away from the central fixed point, well, then it will seem to drop at the horizon, and eventually you will lose it. That's just a natural perspective thing. But again, you have to start thinking in the right terms, that you're not living on a ball. So these are questions about what is, as opposed to, well, how would this work in my reality, which you take as a spinning ball, which is a fantasy or metaphor, as I prefer to. Something is moving, right? Something is moving. That's absolutely undeniable. My killer question to any, and I'm not talking to anyone here, right? But there's a whole troop of antagonist ballers that are just at the same thing for years on end, right? But my killer question to them is, when was the Earth first scientifically proven to move? Because they're all about science. You got to follow science, bow down to science. And yeah, I advise people to answer carefully, because, well, the answer is Earth was never scientifically proven to move, and at every hand's turn, it was always just assumed, and that cannot be good enough.
Yeah, that's just like, um, if people spoke it so many times that it has to be the truth.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
it's like even if you use the numbers as a statistic, most people believe that if it's been said so many times, it
right.
gotta be.
And Hitler said, the bigger the lie, the more people will believe it.
All right, listen. We know the Earth flat. We know that there's space that we don't know of. We know
No, we
space
don't.
ain't
No,
what.
we don't. No, we
What
don't.
up,
No,
man?
we
Stop.
don't.
Hold on, Huey. Hold up, Huey. Hold up, Huey. We know it ain't what they told us it was, but we know if there's a firmament, if there's a dome, it's blocking something. So
Yeah.
we know it ain't Mars, Venus, and all that shit. So we can't even go past the dome. All we can do is talk about. Yeah, we just gotta we gotta figure out what we under right now. Now we
It's
know we
water.
can't break the barrier. We know we can't break the barrier and go to no fucking moon, no fucking Mars, none of that shit, right? But
Yeah.
we gotta understand the barrier is there for a reason, or it wouldn't be there. So
Well,
why is it there? I don't know. I don't know what's on the other side of that shit. They gave us asteroid belts and ozone layers, but I don't know what that shit is. Go ahead.
Well, you say we can't know what's beyond. We can know, my friend. It's saline waters, sea waters, and this ties also into what rain is and what clouds are, most especially. How do clouds stay in place? We're told that there's millions and millions of tons of
Well,
water
listen,
vapor
hold on.
coalesced
I'm gonna give it
together.
right back to you. Listen, all that stuff is under the dome, the clouds, the seawater. I'm saying you don't know what's on the other side of the firmament, man, and it never been
Yeah,
spoke of. They just call it the heavens, man. That's all
yeah,
they
but
call it.
that's what I'm saying to you, bud. That's what clouds are not just water. So my answer is clouds are salt particulate. We have an energy barrier that disassociates the water above saline waters, which comes to as fresh water and salt particulate. So you say we can't know, but that's fair enough. I say we can know. It's saline waters beyond. But there's a greater significance here to everything, and that's the connection to the earth, to our heart. We will notice that one is an anagram of another. We're also been reminded that there's a greater sort of miraculous adventure in play here, and that it interconnects us all and to the earth, Mother Earth itself. So we can't forget this symbolism behind it all. Let me just say to you about the moon landings and what that was all about. That was a reconnection of something once divided. The Earth is in a broken state. So we had the rocket representing the penis taken off with the three astronauts, astronaut first of all, astronautical star in water, taken off and then landing on Mother Moon. Right, the sperms penetrating the egg, and then we have fertility sort of, or a reconnection, reunification sort of symbolic presentation. And of course, this is a problem for all the bowlers, right? If you're a ball earther and you deny the moon landings, you're going to be ostracized by your own type, your own kind, because you can't do that. Whereas most flat earthers will tell you, yeah, obviously, long since realized that the moon landings was a hoax. But if we throw the baby out with the bathwater, we miss the
Now,
greater
Huey, hey,
symbolic
listen to
significance of
this.
the story.
Hey,
Thank you.
listen to this. Hey, listen to this, dude that was just talking. I'm gonna let Huey expound on it. He believed the earth is a body. It's not
Right.
flat nor round. But go ahead, Huey. Let's hear this spiel.
Excellent.
Yes, yes, yes. He was on it. How you doing? Who that? Pet? Who that is? Potential shot? Who? How you spell
That's
your name?
Piche. Piche. Piche.
Pete Shay. How you doing, God? How you doing?
Hey,
You was
bud, how you
definitely
doing?
you was definitely dropping gems, man. I hear exactly where you're going. It seemed like you were going leaning more towards body.
Right,
It,
right, right.
right because you gotta recognize and realize even if it's a real lie, even it's a real lie, right? You got to still realize with your real eyes what you're looking at, right?
Right.
So right, so when you know that you've never looked at nothing else but a body and you only stayed inside of your body on the micro scale, where are you at? The micro and the macro, we're on a body inside of a body living in a body, literally. I mean, like you only seen a body of land, you only seen a body of water, you only ever seen somebody, whether it was a dog, that dog had a body, an animal had a body, an ant had a body, an insect has a body, a germ, a cell. We are cells. Now, a car has a body, a house has a body. Well, I mean, like, the sun is a body, the moon is a body. Like, if you really realize that the sky above your dome is only the sky on your shoulders, is that's the same dome. And you are staying inside of yourself. You only lived inside of yourself. You only been inside of you.
Excellent, Huey. I love it, bud. I love it. That's definitely along the same lines I've been thinking and the stuff I've been finding. Excellent. The body of
Yes,
Christ. You
God.
have the body of science as well. Yeah, it's yeah, it's very deep, isn't it? It's very deep, but yet at the same time, I'm always constantly reminding myself to keep things simple, applicable to you, oneself. Know thyself, we're told, right? And yeah, along these lines, people will call you
Yes.
crazy, Huey, for those type of talk. That type of talk will have you labeled crazy. But I'm with you,
I'm
man.
already labeled. That's okay. It's only a label. Only if they start dealing with the
Hey,
etymology
you
and see
better
that
be
crazy was
labeled
just with
crazy. If you ain't
CRIZY,
labeled,
and then you
yeah,
got
you
to
supposed to
see
be.
the
They is supposed
ZY,
to
and then
label.
is Y. Why
They
Excellent.
is
is
it
supposed
crazy?
to listen.
You know?
Listen, they is supposed to label us crazy. We don't. We're insane. We're not thinking in line with them. We don't think the same as they think. So for them to understand people that don't think how they think, they just label it crazy. That's cool. They
I asked
crazy
him,
to
hey,
me
Drop, you know,
also.
I asked him this, Drop. I asked him, am I
Listen,
insane or am
listen.
I out of my mind? Which one?
I don't know, but what I'm saying is, like say a globe earther, right, would say, I'm insane for thinking that, right? I'm thinking the same about them. Like, you insane, you believe we on a ball. You see what I'm saying? So everybody insane. Insane just mean not the same as the same thought pattern. And that's what that shit means. So yeah, we wacko jackos. Long as you don't start talking to trees. Look, my nigga K hit me to this motherfucker. Listen, man, his name was Nahid, right? I guarantee you he was the smartest man alive at one time. But at one time, he just started talking to telephone poles. He quit combing his hair. He got the kids were scared of him. Now that's when the wrong entity enter your body when we be talking this fucking game. So you got to understand there's spirits, demons, and angels that actually influence your thoughts. And this is so. Never mind.
Hey,
Never.
sir, what if I said to you we are trees? If you count up the number of body parts that are associated with tree parts, you'll be more than astounded. There's something else going on. So your friend there might have been just a deeper layer of crazy. So as the bowlers would call you crazy,
Nah,
insane,
nah,
even
bro.
though
He was
you know
talking
sense is
to a
on your side, you've
telephone.
come to a deeper sort of understanding. Maybe your friend who talks to telephone poles or trees in general has got to that next level, possibly, right?
Yeah.
Possibly not if I
I
took a
mentioned I
picture of
mentioned
my
what
head.
well let me say this. I mentioned what sand I asked the question what sand is. If you went down to the beach, you notice the sand transforming to earth, right? I say the sand is the sawdust of the giant felled crystalline tree. There's only one tree, that's the tree of life, that's Aristarchus, and all of its tributaries. So trees have a profound impact on everything that's going on, would be my ultimate point. Crown,
Yeah.
limbs, look at the limbs, look at the veins, look at the heart. The tree is a heartwood. The crown, the children aren't lied to, right? Think about the nursery or the lullaby that you sang to your beautiful child, Rockabye Baby. Now, the melody is so sweet that you get intoxicated and diverted away from the weight of the words, the lyrics. Rockabye Baby on the treetop, when the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, the cradle will fall, down will come baby, cradle and all. Children are not lied to. The parents do the lying to the children. So,
What's
Yeah.
up, K Rod, man? It's your show, man. I ain't heard you say nothing.
Hey man, Pete dropping science, bro.
Yeah,
Hey Pete.
dude,
Yeah,
dumb
he's dropping
smart,
good
ain't it?
vibes.
Yes, sir. Hey Pete, make sure you subscribe to me, bro. I don't know where you found where you at, bro, but go ahead and subscribe to me, man. Huey P Nuisance, bro. We have deep builds over there, bro. You would be a great mind. Where are you from, bro? If you don't mind me asking.
no worries, bud. I'm from Ireland. I've actually declared myself king of Era. Right? We are all kings and queens on this land. We are. You see, if we think we're on a spinning ball Earth, you can claim to be the highest authority all you like on a fantasy. You can claim a portion of nothing. It's like people buying land on the moon. How ridiculous! It's a reflection, but it's the same when it comes to realizing our home. I respect you all as my fellow kings and queens on the land, the highest authority there is, and I even use kings and queens lightly. But
Yeah,
I'm in I'm
man.
in, I'm in Ireland, a place called Limerick City.
Uh, yeah, but
Oh
I
yes,
be
gratitude,
I be thinking
gratitude.
people sometimes y'all should it's so many launches that's getting launched off, all these camera shots, and I don't see how people can really think that they fake and they not showing the sphere shape of
Yeah.
I don't understand how you don't see that, like all those people. I mean,
Hey,
watching those rockets
hey,
all this
Rod, what you
time.
think of Rod? What do you think about my body Earth, where I can prove more roundness and flatness than either one of the flat Earth or the globe?
Look, I was watching the show this morning where The lady's Bob was an astronaut. She
Hey, look.
actually went to space, but now her daughter is doing the same thing. She asking her daughter what to do, practicing through zero gravity flights and shit like that, getting her mind ready. Do you really think that she came to the point? Because this is what you have to be ultimately saying. All right, baby, this is cool. They're gonna tell you this and that, but all this is none of this is fake. You actually ain't even gonna go to space. Y'all ain't even gonna really do none of that. You see what I'm saying? Do you see how pointless that is? That
No, it
wouldn't
is,
even make
right?
sense. The people is employed through search and rescue teams. It's certain computer screens and all these shits. You
Hey,
know,
It's
let me ask
stage,
you
it's
this.
it's
stage
Hey,
expensive.
activities,
K-Rod.
bro.
Hey, hold
It's
It's
up.
so
Hey,
much
stage
money
K-Rod.
put
activities,
into
bro.
doing this.
Hold
Do
on,
you
Rod.
think?
My bad. Let me ask you this, Rod. Have you ever saw that rocket that launched off? You saw that with your physical eyes, right? But you never saw it land. So they could tell you it went anywhere in the world. You can't duplicate it. I can give you anything now because you can't do it. You see what I'm saying?
Look,
But on some
I just watched a special launch today. It's
a
thousands of
special launch,
people
they got
standing
them every
outside.
week,
It's thousands of people standing outside. This is for the International Space Station, taking
right?
pictures of this shit.
And it
It's
left off
not
the
going
ground,
out.
right?
I've been there. Hold
Hold
on,
up,
bro.
Huey, hold on, Huey,
I
hold
was
on,
right
Huey,
there. Hold
Huey,
on,
man,
man. I was
hold on,
right there in Cape Canaveral, right?
bro,
I was
man.
right there in
Let me
Cape
build
Canaveral
this,
for two
bro.
Okay,
years, right?
okay.
Man,
Now let me
bro,
add.
chill, bro.
But
See, I
look,
was
let
going
me.
somewhere, Huey. You fucked it up. Now
No,
listen,
no,
My bad.
no. It's
I'm just
cool.
saying
just listen, bro. You saw the shit go
that
up in the air, right? 1,000 people watching it, right? You didn't
Right.
see it land. You didn't see where it went. You just saw something take off in the air, bro. That's all I'm
Okay.
saying. That's all you know with your physical eye.
Okay. Like I said,
hold on. Can I add this
I've
too? Let me add this. Let me add this in real quick to what Drop saying though, bro. Because I've been there and I've seen it physically, my own self physically, bro. Now, if you got enough sense, you done seen. I stay right here where the airport is at, so I see airplanes coming in and landing and taking off all fucking day, bro. You hear me? And it's a trajectory that they're going off. Now, when this rocket take off, bro, it starts off up, but it goes like it's going like an airplane out, meaning it goes up and it goes out into the east. It goes east. It don't go straight up in the sky like you can see it going through the clouds up till you can't see it no more. No, that is not what's happening. It goes out like where the sun come from, that way towards the ocean, bro. Do you hear me?
okay.
And that motherfucker go out your vision that way.
Okay. Now, but it's so many thousands of things will make you believe otherwise. So you would say that this is a whole made up theory. So I'm watching a program just about re-entry. This ain't nothing about a rocket taking off or nothing. This is a program with showing a live footage, mind you, of a re-entry in the whatever the shit that happened. So it's certain when the capsule was released, they saying that whatever they hit the jets in a spring about 1 minute and 45 seconds, just so it can get away from the space station, so it don't get in orbit with that. So now they timing how the Earth is spinning to because since y'all believe in the vacuum, if you don't do it perfectly, it's gonna suck
No,
you
who
all the
believe
way
in the
out.
vacuum?
Well,
Who believe
some
in the
people on here,
vacuum?
I'm pretty sure some people on here believe this is
No,
a
the
it's a
fuck, no,
vacuum.
they don't.
So
Y'all
anyways,
think the globe is in a
either
vacuum. Shut the fuck
oh, okay, well
up, man.
either the vacuum will
What's
suck
that?
you out,
Did he get
or
that?
they trying to
Yeah,
timely.
it can't be a vacuum on a globe Earth because there's no air in the atmosphere. Remember, you
Man,
can't
you
have your
got
cake
okay.
and eat it
I
too.
mean, you gotta believe in space junk. Well, anyways, they had to hit
Space
the
junk.
booster again. I guess 4 minutes and 45 seconds later, just to make sure it was safe. And then so now people was back home recalculating. You
Okay,
everybody doing
I
nothing.
saw that shit too, K. Now rewatch it, right? And you gonna see it's computer generated. You gonna see that's not real cameras. You're gonna see how it's like a video game damn near, bro. It's not real, bro. It's not
Look,
a real camera recording this, doing that.
I mean, but
Just
you
go
see it
watch it
with your
again.
eyes, and you know the cameras can deceive.
No,
But even when they're
no,
just
man. I
out
know
of their
real from
so
spacesuit,
fake.
and then you see it with your eyes, and you telling me that I seen it with my eyes, and my eyes is lying on me because there's so much other things that make it look like that. So then my eyes ain't even good enough for you. I still me being there and seeing that motherfucker look like an airplane flying in and out of goddamn landing zones is don't matter to you. So that means they tell me that when I see this motherfucking plane coming in from my motherfucking house, that motherfucker must be spinning. He must be calculating the spin of the earth spinning, and I ain't spinning because I'm sitting here standing and I'm watching this motherfucker. The sun
okay,
standing behind me. Hold on, bro. So you telling me I cannot calculate the speed of this fucking plane going down or the trajectory of the fucking the shuttle with your own eyes? Have you ever seen it literally with your own eyes? Let me ask you this. I'm talking about in person, not no fucking camera view. I'm talking about in person, right there where it take off from. I live right fucking there, bro. I done seen that motherfucker take off more than once, bro, like 4, 5 times, bro. Literally. My brother, my brother-in-law, my girl, all they folks, they from right there, bro. Do you hear me, bro? So if you ain't seen it with
mhm.
your own eyes, you gonna tell me that my eyes is lying on me too? Then I ain't talking about what nobody else told me. This ain't got nothing to do with no flat Earth. Before I even knew anything about flat Earth or telling these niggas anything about flat Earth, because I always knew this bitch was a body. Literally, I couldn't even tell motherfuckers that. I had to weave my way in because I can still see that it's sea level because you can only see level. Your eyes is level. Your eyes is even in your head. So you gonna always see level. Water is
Yeah,
always going to be fresh and level what you seeing physically, but only if you knew that your body is the only thing that can encompass something to let it flow through your whole body, literally around you. Where the water is in your body, the blood is flowing all through the veins of the inside of your body, literally.
and on that note, that's why they give you different medicines when you going in there. They have stuff to make sure your stomach all right. They got different. They got pills they even got to give you before you even go to space. You saying they
Man,
faking? You saying they faking? I watched them carry motherfuckers, and
space
it's
is
always
space
this.
outside of you right now, Rod. Is
Yeah,
space right now? Do you got space in between you and your
I
walls?
mean, I
Is it
believe
space?
after you went to space, you can't walk no more. They got
Hold
to go back.
on.
They got
Is
to
it
go
space
back to.
between you and your walls, though, Rod? Listen, bro. Is it space between you and your walls right now?
Yeah, it's space, but you know
All
we.
right, now I'm saying no. Now, is it space outside from your walls outside to your neighbor's house? Is it space, right? Is space from your house, your ceiling up to the sky? Is it space? Not right there. Is it space that you roaming around through every all awakening? Do you
Yeah,
literally go through space, bro?
but see, look on that you can use
Oh,
that same terminology and say it's space everywhere. It's a space right in
literally.
the groove of my walls. Literally, I could put my finger through
It's
a
space
space
between
and
your fingers, between the lines in your
space.
fingers. It's space
Right.
between your body. It's
So
space
that's just
between the
saying metaphorically. That's saying it's always gonna be space. But what I'm
facts.
saying is so what I'm saying is, even with a green screen trick, people will be sending me debunk videos. I can still tell the difference if a motherfucker really is in the damn space station. Just some body language that you can't even
Bro, they
hope.
can make anything look like a space
I'm,
station and call it the
oh,
space
oh,
station.
okay,
I can make a
okay.
fucking house look like a space station and call it the
And
space station.
and guess
They
what?
got
When they send a
airplanes.
debunk video, guess what? It don't look as good as that.
Man,
It still be
boy.
some cheesy spots,
Hey, man,
but you will
and
see a
they can
person's
sell your ass
natural.
water then. They can sell
You'll
you
see
water, bro.
you can see their
Literally.
natural movements from being in space. I mean, it's so many different. It's too many. Like I said, if you speak it into existence so many times, it got to be the truth. I
No,
was
it don't.
watching instead of NASA, I was even watching ESA, and that's a European space station shit. So I
Bruh,
mean, it's all different type of motherfuckers is doing that. I mean, they is
bruh.
not that you act like they just getting a check for faking it. and they just
Yes, they
making about a.
are. Why
They
not?
all
Hold on,
getting a
bro.
check for
Are they getting
faking.
a check for faking insurance, and all of this shit, right? Are they getting a check for fake electricity and water? They charging people for water when there's more water than anything. So are they getting a fake check or not, bro?
I mean, they can get a check, but it's still the truth. It ain't fake. They still gonna
Oh
get
my
electric.
God, bro! You
They
don't
still
see
gonna get
nothing
they
wrong.
still gonna get
You
their
don't see
electric and
nothing
shit.
wrong, bro. Literally, bro. This,
Hey, they
this,
gonna probably be
man.
gypped. It's gonna be
Go ahead,
crooked,
man.
but
Okay,
it's
go ahead. I'm gonna let you. This is your show, man. I can't even deal with it.
nah, man. I mean, if too many people say it, man. I mean, you ain't supposed to be naive and just think off of that theory.
How
But
many people saying that it's not though? So it's the same. Listen, bro. If it wasn't so, right?
not
Why
too
do they?
many.
Why do Google literally have flat Earth terminology? Why do Google have it if it was fake? Literally, why would they have if globe Earth was literally what it was? Why would Google even have something to combat it? Why would they even make it? Why would it be even questionable? Why is it a fact that this shit is such a big thing that it's able to be questioned, bro? If it was a fact, none of this shit should be questionable, bro. This that's the thing, bro. A fact shouldn't be questionable,
Hey,
bro.
for one thing, what puts it out there is something. It's a topic. It's something to get somebody to believe in. It's something. It's
Oh
something new.
man,
It's almost like it's a fad. It's
bro,
almost a
you got
religion.
more
So
excuses
so
than goddamn excuses itself,
so
bro.
it's like a fad in a religion. So if people can make money off of it, yeah.
Man,
So so if
so
it's an
they can make money
opportunity
off
to
of
cling
Globe
on,
Earth too, right? Are they
I
making
mean,
money off of
it's a
Globe
lot of
Earth,
things
bro?
people can make money
Are they
off of,
making
but I'm
money
just
off of
gonna,
Globe Earth, bro? Are they making money off of Globe Earth?
yeah, they
Are
making
they
money off of
making
it because
money?
they
Are
sell
they making
globes.
money off of vaccines and telling people that they can't get the flu and giving them the flu? What kind of sense do that make? That's like
Look,
telling people, right? Listen, that's like telling people, you come to me, I'm gonna give y'all an AIDS shot so you don't get AIDS. I'm gonna give you AIDS so you don't catch AIDS. How many people going to get that, man?
but like I said, you gonna say it's a
Oh
flat
my,
earth.
bro! I didn't say it's a flat Earth. I said it's a body, bro. It's you. And I'm trying to prove something to you. The only globe you ever seen, or you can only curvature that you can prove is on the shape of a being. Literally, on your head is where the globe is at. And it's connected, body is connected to something that is flat, or it
Now
might
here's
got a
what I
little arc
think.
on it with your feet.
My
It's
turn.
connected to this
It's my
ground,
turn
bro.
now. No, it's my turn. It's my turn. Damn, it's Sir Drop's turn. Let Sir Drop talk, boy. Hey, but listen. Now here's why I'm digging the flat globe and body, right? Because now everything connecting. You dig what I'm telling you? So we just a cell of everything going on, just like it's a cell in your body, everything connected. The dome could be the globe. The body could be the plane. The aura could be the barrier.
Hear me, Lord.
But never mind that part. Y'all continue.
About time you talk about you just getting it. What you mean? The fuck you mean? Oh, I've been telling you the whole time, Drop.
Yeah. But
Listen,
you be like you would tell somebody some shit in a headlock. Like nigga,
Here's one for you, right? Here's one for
man,
you.
tell me over a piece of steak, man. That's all I'm
man,
saying,
I've been
man.
giving
But
you gems, though. I ain't been telling you. I've been telling you over fruits and vegetables. Fuck the steak. I've been telling you over bananas, oranges, and grapes. You hear me?
Here's one for you, Huey. So everything above the heart is ordered. Everything below the heart is in disarray. We are missing half of our brain, right? So if we look at our brain and our gut, Isn't one possibly a sort of inversion of the other? Once we come to understand that the male and the female are torn two from one, if we look at the genitalia of the male, which are all dangling around, they're just the inversion of the female genitalia, right? So is the same thing happening within ourselves? I think we're divided without, so it's male from female and self from self. Is the other half of our brain, right? So we've only half at the top, a half a sphere. Is it in inverted form, in the form of our gut? Einstein was after always after the grand unifying theory, or the GUT. I think there's a big key to this, and well, we shouldn't be meat eaters for one. If our brain is in our gut, we need to sort of reconnect and cleanse it, right? We can't be having body parts of fellow creatures in our system. There'll be no cleansing taking place there. But very interesting, Huey, isn't it? When we think about it in terms of the body.
Lovely, bro. Hey, man, couldn't say it
Yeah,
better than
deep
you, man.
as hell,
Hear me?
man.
Only I can see that. See, only you can see that because you know what it is. You know what your eye is all about. Hear me?
And listen, that's why everything is a mirror. Listen, your
All that,
ideology,
man.
my ideology, his ideology, K. Rod's ideology, it's still the truth.
Yeah.
It's your world. If there was fucking dragons flying and you believed it, that
It's
it's true
dragonflies.
to you.
It's dragonflies. You said if it was dragons flying. You ain't never seen a dragonfly? How many
But I'm
times you seen
saying,
a
no, what I'm
dragonfly?
saying is this. Here's what I'm saying is this.
Literally.
Here's what I'm saying is this. It's so many different worlds. So the world our entities is coming from that's moving our bones saw different things, and this is where we clashing at. And that's how
Hear
you
me,
get to the
Lord.
most high. You know how many different realms you gotta go
Yeah,
through to
you
get to
said
the
it. Say
most
it
high?
again. This is where we're clashing at, God. Right? Because when we come to clashing, right, is when our worlds collide and they're not interchanging. They're not fucking binding. They're not coming together. So, like, what Flat Earth was able to do was to collide with what the teachings of the Earth was able to do. You know what I mean? Because it put enough energy and had enough body or enough current or enough currency or enough attention where men was mind to be meeting that. You hear me? So when the energy comes from in the mind and the cell of the mind, you hear me? Damn, my shit went low. Did I go low? Because I got a call. When I get a call, that shit fuck up.
No, you're
Damn.
good, Huey. And now we
No,
have
I
the
hear
proper
you.
I
context.
gotta go out and come back.
This is
I
what
gotta go
flat
out and
Earth
come
does.
back.
It gives us the proper context to apply everything we've learned. No disrespect, Killer, but I mean, there's no point if any of this talk will just go over the head of any ball earther who will cling to, images, will cling to a belief, will cling to the aversion to a disbelief. You don't want to disbelieve it. You don't want to believe that there's been a massive conspiracy involving thousands of people against you. No, but look, this is reality. We have to get to the truth, and there is a higher purpose here, as I see it, anyway. And everything we're going through, all this process of realization, it's all pre-scripted. It's all purposeful, and well, each man plays his part. That's what I say.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with the same thing, man. Yep. Everybody got their differences. When they all get together, it still could be, for a positive reason. Because all you want to
Yeah.
do is know the truth, and
Yeah.
you want to be true, just like,
So yeah. So what if that mother daughter astronaut pair were acting their part, but they were aware of a greater truth, a greater secret. So let's just say, for instance, they were told, "Look, we're doing this now to facilitate the greater awakening of humanity. So even though there is a great deception here, it is for a higher purpose." Would you imagine that would satisfy them? I should think so. I think we'd all be sort of willing to play our part if we had some sort of similar context to everything. You know what I mean? That's the way I tend to look at it.
I look at it being a realist and with biblical terms also. See, I know things can continue through the evil by money being the root of evil, but then I'll be saying a realist. I want to use my common sense and saying God. I trust in God all the way. He already knew what was going to happen. He already calculated to take 20 million years to even get to this planet, so really, that's like creating the game. So it's like whatever you looking for, you know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna happen anyways. So I'm looking at it like, dang, I forgot what I was gonna say. Let me
Yeah,
say it.
that's okay. Listen, bud, you're talking to somebody who holds that this Earth in its current form is 421 years old this year. Next year it'll be 422 years old. That's according to the story of the non-existent dodo bird. Pretty much everyone I meet who takes it that the dodo bird is true. Everyone has heard of the dodo bird. People have heard of the musical scales do, re, mi. People have heard of dough being made money, right? Dough make bread. So the term dough is always there within our consciousness, waiting to come out. But yeah, within the dodo bird itself, that's what the story tells, the story of us. And Earth was divided. We are in an unnatural state. The tree of life has been cut, and there's evidence for it everywhere. I've equated the sun. I did it last night on my own hangout again. But the sun, right? So you know those fiber optic lamps that you put the strands in and they light up. It just flops out like a tree and you light it up. So imagine getting your shears and cutting off the tops of the fiber optic strands and putting the energy through it again. You would get a different sort of distribution and different expression of that energy, and it'd be something very similar to the sun. This is what we do at Christmas time with the cut tree, right? We put it back onto the X where it was taken off from, and we artificially light it up with a star at the top. That star represents Polaris. All of the night sky, all of the day sky, night sky revolves around Polaris, as that's a central point. Well, what's in the name? Sometimes everything. Polaris Starkus. Aristarchus is that tree of life that's been cut at the north center. It's also known as Mount Meru or Yggdrasil, and that is doing the expression above. Yeah, as I say, we're in a broken system. That's my sort of view. And then when you have the proper context, all of these different clues that have been with us from the earliest of times add together to formulate some sort of coherent picture. And let me just say, only for the individual. In one sense, all there is the individual in this experience, and you sort of got to make what you do, make what you make of it. You're on your own and to a big degree. So I'm just expressing where I'm at as well. But I do believe, last thing, that the story is already pre-written and it's waiting for us to read it as well.
Yeah, and what I was gonna say is like how people preach conspiracy. I mean, like I said, I know money. Money do a lot of evil shit, but I know God already got the thing mapped out, and it's like, but regardless of how people saying these stuff is happening hundreds and hundreds of years, and it's gonna be like that. But being a realist is saying is depending on God, and I'm like, but they gonna be dead already. Every 80 years, they all gonna be dead already. The next 80 years, they gonna be dead already. You know what I mean? So it's different personalities coming, filling other positions, but that's where you find a lot of breakdowns in conspiracies, even from the beginning of breaking down slavery, where the parent died and the son next to taking charge really really wasn't for that, so he done fucked the whole family gig up because he said he ain't want to do that no more. And just like through conspiracy, through list. People who like I've been watching stuff about like how her father was a racist and he was in the big racist, but she didn't want to, so she exploited all of them. She like, oh no, no, I ain't on that. If things are be so falsified and classified through the age differences. So God is, by even saying God is stronger than that, is saying I'm gonna tell you, I'm taking you anyways in about 70 years. So whatever you thought you was about to build, that you gone from this element of life.
Well, I mean, that's a different story again. Each man has his thoughts. I guess the important thing that I sort of think in terms of is, how does everything relate to myself? If I start talking about thinking about the origins of the slave trade, and everything's been handed down to me, we were all given the Kunta Kinte story, right, from the 80s and all of that. That turns out to be nonsense. And I think the best way, once you know you're dealing with a sort of a necessary lie, because remember, the lie is built on the truth. then you can discount all the lies and just sort of take it from scratch. Wipe the slate clean and see what sort of greater symbolism is behind the next assumed lie. It's like these media hoaxes. I don't even bother
Hey,
anymore.
but look at
You
this
know,
though. But look at this though. If somebody believe it, this the new paradigm they done put in the brain of the people. If people believe it, the belief system, if they believe it, is real to them because they
yeah,
believe it. Instead of
right.
not judging it either way, Teeter saw everything. Like if you walk down the middle of something, don't lean on one side. I like say if Rod and Huey in the debate. I'm a I mean, in a fist fight, right? I'm gonna step between them to see where the real energy at to break it up. You see what I'm saying? It's the medium, the
Right.
4.5 for lesser words. The the go ahead, man.
The middle road. I didn't say anything
The
about it, but
channel
okay.
your energy. The
Yeah.
it's a lot of sayings for this shit I'm talking about.
Well, it's sort of
Flat Earth fantasy. I don't know. I don't know why he think that Pete has a hell of imagination. Um, I would probably take more shit that he's saying
yeah.
literally, and that take it as a fucking imagination. And or we're worried about taking it seriously when you supposed to be with a name like Flat Earth Fantasy, right? You
I
got a
saw that too.
fantasy for flat Earth, right? With a name like Flat Earth's fantasy, I'm pretty sure you can't get up here and tell us anything
Yeah, he
credible.
wouldn't have the balls to anyway, but he was at my hangout yesterday, and he's what I call one of the usual transparent baller antagonists. So if he says that Pete has a hell of an imagination, don't take him too seriously. Well, make of that what you will, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
But look, isn't it true? Like ultimately, all there is you in this life. That's all
Hear
there has
me,
ever been. So we got to come to
hear
terms with
me.
that. Here we are sharing ideas and information. But
Oh
yeah,
fuck, he knows. You really know, Pete. You fucking get it.
yeah.
Listen,
You
I don't
fucking
get it.
really get it.
Listen, here's what I'm saying. You gotta be level headed. Level is flat. Flat is infinite. Infinite goes on and on and on. So the landmass never stops. So if you take a direction north, you will go that direction forever until you die. You will pass the baton. You will go north forever. Any direction you pick. So it's called an infinite plane. Now listen. And I don't care if it's off topic. It's a mic drop anywhere. If you go up, you crash. You go down, you crash. You go left, right, you go forever, man. Ever.
What
You
if you go
understand?
in and
Sure,
out?
but
Like what about just going out? Because left or right, up and down, and all of that shit don't even matter about, right? What if you? How far can you go in yourself?
you beat
How
me
far?
to it, Huey.
How far can you go inside yourself? All of them
Oh,
directions
you
that you
come
went,
now.
right?
Look,
Hold
I
on,
look
hold on.
at
Let
it
me.
like.
You said a mic drop. I just want to because everywhere. This
I
is where
thought you
everybody.
had asked me a question. My bad.
Right, like everyone. This is what we do. We look outside ourselves for everything, the truth in a book outside of ourselves. We'll read a billion books before we took a look inside of ourselves and read the pages inside of us.
Very good.
Literally,
Very good.
Now listen, I'm past that chapter. Now when you get to that chapter, right, and you get inside of yourself, what happens is it's like a trampoline. When you get to the and you bounce out and it thrusts you to a whole another paradigm. Now this is where I'm at. Now I'm like really like got like some hand gliders on in the air, like, and I'm like an eagle now. You see what I'm saying?
hear
Once I
me,
found my center, it thrusted me to some whole different way of thinking. So now I
hear
think a
me,
different way, and they say I'm crazy. I be like, nah, I'm just chilling, man. That's all I'm doing, man. I'm
hear me,
not
Lord.
crazy. I'm
You're
not the
good to me,
mean.
sir.
Level headed. Level headed is what it's called.
See, you just bounced up out of there. I liked the trampoline. But how far did you jump down before you went up? How far did you bounce up? How is your ceiling? Can you go out and then you get to the top? You know how you jump in between two walls and you make your feet stick to the other side and then you start climbing up
No,
the wall. You know how they do it. You know how they do that,
no,
right?
we all bump our head and we go
No,
back to the trampoline. You know how I
no,
say you can
listen.
tell who
That's what
bumped
I'm
their
trying to
head?
tell you. Listen, it's a way that you can get out of that, right? When you think that you bumped your head, right? Go out of that, right? And then you're gonna go in, right? When you go out of that one, right? After you bump your head, you're gonna go inside another space, right? It's gonna be another lower self. That's your lower self and your higher self. Now start bouncing on the trampoline up there, right? When you bounce hard enough, you're gonna go up, 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 up in your higher self, right? Go up, 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 bounce all the way up till you can get to the ceiling of your higher self, right? And try to get out that motherfucker and do it again. And then when you do that, right, jump all the way back down through all three different bodies, right? Back down to this little self. Boing, it's gonna go all the way back up, right? Right?
Shit, you might be
Hey,
dead
that
or
was
crazy
fire.
by the time you
That
get
was
back.
fire, bro. That was fire. And that boy said you can even land on the first one or the third one or the fifth one you already busted through. But this time I'm going all the
All
way
the
back to
I
the
feel like I'm in a
root.
Super Mario
way.
That boy going up on a Tuesday.
Hey, that was fire, K. You can't say that wasn't fire.
That was
Yeah,
excellent. That
yeah,
was
yeah,
excellent.
that
And
was
look,
a mic drop, man.
as without as without, so within. The external is reflected internally, and vice versa. I think this is the key. We're encouraged always to sort of one side or the other. The religious side will have you always been external, whereas the science side is sort of
Hear
the
me,
same.
Lord. That man knows this shit, man. Hear me. My bad. I gotta mute the mic because I'm be saying a lot of hear me. When you be saying shit like that, I be hearing you, which is me. So when I say hear me, I be wanting everybody to hear me because you are me. I am you. We are we. We know this. See, I am talking. He just saying it. I'm just saying it. Literally.
Excellent. I get it, bud. I appreciate it, Huey. And we know sort of where we're at this. But yeah, we're instructed. This is why it's so important to have the proper context. And this is why Flat Earth was handed to us on a plate. There's a sort of an evolution going on in our understanding, and most especially our understanding of ourselves, which is all what it comes back to. Because we're greater than the material, right? We are not of this world. And what is the phrase? Greater is He in ye than he in this world, right? You're children of God.
Hear me, Lord,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, we out of this world. We out of this world. We
Yeah,
from
man.
out of
So
this
we can
world.
understand it. They'll tell you can't understand anything. You have to rely on all the great minds of history. When you find out that Einstein was a tranny, right, and he was married to a butch man in drag in the name of Elsa Einstein, well, then you realize it's all sort of divine comedy in one sense. But to throw out everything that Einstein has said is folly. What you need to do is invert it, because when we talked about mirroring earlier on, everything is mirrored. Getting it back to the individual level, you think you look like what you look like. No, you don't. That's only for familiarizing yourself with your mirror reflection, where everything is inverted.
Ooh.
Hey, I just
Hear me,
learned something
Lord.
today. Hey, I ain't
Hey,
know
K Rod,
Einstein
hold
was a
on,
trainer.
Rod. Hey, Rod, where you find this dude at, man? This dude got fired, man.
Hell yeah,
Where
he
you
got
find
fired. Shit. He came and
where
stopped
you
by the
find
show.
this dude, man?
He came in
God,
here.
damn. That's cold, bro. That's cold. People meet for a reason, man. That shit cold. But go ahead. I ain't mean to interrupt you, Rod. Go ahead.
That's
Uh,
I know I can talk, man, but yeah, I appreciate that. I put my in the main chat there. I just say greetings because I have my own channel, so I talk sort of about this stuff, uh, really. But look, I just came in because there was a hangout going, just a little chat. So I'm happy I did. I met some excellent people, and it's my pleasure to talk to you.
hell yeah, shit. Nice to meet you, my brother. Shit, it's always good to just connect with people, and you know, I would say just trying to positively understand the person, where no matter where they coming from, because you can learn something from anybody.
Yeah, yeah. You never know where you're going to get your next clue, and it's all a game of clues. Mark Sargent. Most people miss Mark Sargent's real clues. And he told you, like, but he was a prepper. He had no internet presence, even though he's a conspiracy guy. Except 8 years prior, he put out a prepper's guide, someone who prepares for hard times, you know. And to look at the guy and see everything about him, he's an anti-prepper. He's anything but a prepper. But when we look, everything in the beginning was the word, right? So when it's all a game of clues. What's in a name? Amen is an anagram of name. Everything is in a name. The word chosen. It's as simple as ABC 1, 2, 3. If we understand the basics of it, right? Mark Sergeant Prepper is a reference to Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which can easily be described as the most famous album in history, musical offering in history. So if this is all part of the greater game, a game of clues, the individual putting pieces together, connecting the dots, then we can sort of hope for some sort of resolution. And, you know, fuck it. What else is there? When you come to this point where you're on your own, right, my friends? You're on your own with your thinking. Who can you say any of this stuff to in real life and sort of get anywhere? You can't really. The very basics of flat earth, if you tell someone you're a flat earth, it's already shock barricades gone up with most people.
They running. I mean,
so you don't get beyond that, and that's why I do my own hangouts, and I can talk, but it's just really just for me to be able to talk openly and just see where it goes. You know what I mean? Because when you're dealing with people in general, you can't go to those places, and you can't really when you're thinking something through, have a conversation. You know, it never develops in yourself.
Because you can think every. Hey, look, Pete. I think the key, right? Another major keys, right, is when we out and about in the world. Talk less, think more, and do what you thinking. It's like
where are those hookers and cocaine?
Yeah, no, I would say. I would say do what you think it as positive.
No, there ain't no such thing as positive and negative. Just do what you think. Do what your spirit is doing. Do what your spirit is telling you to do, and just don't fucking think. Just goddamn operate it, and everything gonna operate for you. Like you can literally manipulate people with thinking, bro.
But it's a such thing as some being positive and negative and medium. And
that's what I was gonna say. It's a such thing as positive.
Only to you though. It's only to what you gonna think it is. So if you thinking about a negative thing, you ain't gonna do the negative thing that you doing, because it's negative to you. It's only to you. Because if my shit tell me, man, go get me a bag of goddamn green and stand on the block and sell all this weed, you might think that is a bad thing. But my shit might be like, nigga, go sell all this goddamn weed, nigga. You feel me? You know everybody.
But I'm saying, if you go take a shank up in the library and just start stabbing people and old ladies and shit,
man,
like that,
I'm just saying, whatever you might think is negative. Hey, listen, stabbing might be a different way. If I'm thinking about stabbing, I'm like, damn, I'm thinking about stabbing. I must want to fuck something. That means I got to stab something. I got to go in something. You feel me? Like, literally.
But, listen.
If you're thinking about stabbing, you should go get yourself a bag of weed.
No, you need to go get you a girl. You need to go get you a girl and stab up in them guts. You need to go get you a girl and stab them guts. That's what you need to do. You need to have you a girl and go stab you some guts. Literally.
Right, yeah, like bats out of hell. Never mind that part. Stab backwards. Never mind. But anyway, listen. What the fuck?
Very good, sir.
You did it. You said it.
I know I said it. That was a mic drop. You know that was
hell
a
yeah. Upside down too. Upside down in the dark. Like bats out of hell. You already know.
Hey, look, you flipping like an astronaut. You flipping like an astronaut, my brother. You flipping.
Hey, look, Astro's not. You got an ass, and then you got your stroll, and then your nose, and then your knots.
Astros, not.
Astro nose, not.
As nostrils, not. Snot. As nostrils,
not. As nostrils, not. That's not your snot.
Hey, see, from a religious standpoint, man, you gotta find yourself. You gotta find yourself more positive.
As nostril, not. That's
more
not
Positive is
positive
subjective.
only
than
what you
negative.
think, bro.
And the
Positive
more
is
you
only
know,
No,
what
let
you
him
and the
think,
more
build
you
right
man.
quick,
know,
Huey.
oh listen,
Hey,
the
Let him
more
listen,
you
build,
know,
Huey.
the
a
more you know,
positive
the
is
more
negative to somebody else, bro.
Hey,
it's like
no,
a
Huey,
scare
it's
tactic.
on him, man. Let him go.
No, I was
I
just
think
gonna
you
say
get
it's like a
astronauts
scare
not on
tactic. The
eBay.
more you know, the worse it'll hurt you by picking those negative things, man. That's why at least supposed to try to move into
What
positive.
you said, the more that you know, the more that say that again.
The more that you know, the
Uh huh.
worse that it's gonna be against you by picking the negative,
Oh, I
and
thought you said by
how you
picking at
gonna
your
be
nose.
punished
I
by
said the
God.
more that you know is going to be picking at your nose.
No, he's
Here's one
saying
for you.
this.
Here's one for you. The wise
No,
man knows
hold
that
on,
the more.
Huey.
Here's
No,
one.
here's what he's saying, Huey. Here's what he's
Here's one
saying.
for you. Here's one for you. The wise man, Huey. Here's
Listen
one for
right
you.
quick. Huey, man, listen. What he's
All right.
saying is this. The more you know, right, it's still gonna be a opposite to it. So the more you know, the more evil gonna come upon you. So if you look at anything to the darker or negative light, it can take you on a whole negative path. If you look at everything to the positive light, it could take you on a positive path. That's what he was saying.
Yeah, but beware of the false light. What is the false light? But I was going to
Thank
say,
you, bro. Thank you.
yeah. Well,
Say that again, Pete.
it's I was just going to say, beware of the false light. I mean, well, yeah, I'm after losing my train of thought there. I was going to say, jump in and say something in relation to what you were saying the last time. So sorry about that. Sorry about that.
No, what he's saying is stop. Don't be blinded by the false lights, basically, because what you think is a positive ain't a positive. A negative ain't a negative.
Right,
Energy is
right.
just energy. Once you know that you are 0 point and you need both energies, like we were saying today on Nikki C drop, we said we got so much positive going on that we needed to start channeling some negative shit, bro. This is why we weren't able to move more shit because we had just too much positive energy. We needed some negative energy to balance off our shit so we could really put some shit in motion. So that little negative energy that happened with me and bro or whatever, root, all of that shit that happened, all of this negative energy was just to balance off some of all of our positive, bro. Because all we getting is thumbs up, people with us, fucking with us. You feel me? So we had to have a balance to get ourselves back to 0 point, bro. So it's about how you gonna channel some negative energy and what do you consider as or what you would think or as a positive or a negative or a minus or a plus. Why we gotta think like it's a positive or negative? Just look at it as minus or plus. You feel me? Ain't gotta be a positive or negative. Energy is fucking energy.
Well, I would
It's
say
the
just
same
turn
thing.
yourself into a generator and
I am.
generate that
I am a
negative energy
generator.
into
I am a.
positive energy.
Listen, bro. You are a generator. You the generator. You the operator and the destroyer. This is what you are. You are generations. We came from generations to generate energy. What you are doing is naturally generating energy. You are a free generator. You go turn on all energy. That's what a
Right,
generator
Huey.
do.
So, Huey, I'm after remembering, right? So, two things. The first thing is wisdom, right? A wise man will know that the more he knows, the less he knows. So, is wisdom
Right.
something to be desired? But the other thing is, regarding what you're saying about energy, what is the biggest drag on a male in throughout his adult life? What to do with his seed, right? So we're advised not to spill our seed. This is the core of our energy, and when it comes back to it, right? We all stem from the sperm, the seed meeting the egg. Now, what if one, we were talking about everything being mirrored, what if one is an inversion of the other? And it's by the two coming together that the magic happens. So when we talk about the body of Christ, what do you think that is? Easter Sunday, you get the body of Christ on your tongue. There's a different story going on. If we can resist all of the material, Sir talked about life there. So what is life? Isn't it, or evil? You mentioned evil. Isn't it funny that evil is live backwards? I say life
Amen.
is an anagram of if L,
Me
right?
and Huey talked about
Material
that the other
or
day.
I fell. Yeah, I fell. I fell from a
Yeah,
higher
Ken Huey just
immaterial
talked about that
basis.
too. That's crazy.
Excellent. Excellent. And it comes back to sand. What is sand? All is sand and water.
But
But what
hold
is
on, you
sand?
forgot about this part though, bro. But then you gotta go lived, and that's the devil backwards. See, so now you gotta stretch the words. I heard you say, dog, God. You know what I'm saying? But
Man,
we
he just
say,
said
Right.
stands. And what is
listen, hold
stands?
up.
Stands
Hold
is
up,
DNA.
hold on, man. I
Oh,
got a
my
rear
bad.
naked chokehold. This bitch deadly to that bitch. Listen, no, what I'm damn, you made me forget what I was saying, man. But
You're
go ahead.
funny, man.
He
You're
said
funny.
sands. He said sands. That's DNAs. The DNAs of everybody. Each one of us is a grain of sand in the dirt or a sand. We came from sand. Dan. That's why and is DNA. The and, the sand. The land is the L's DNA. The DNA of the L.
Can I
Listen.
share my screen? Let me share my screen based on Huey, what you're talking about, and Sir, what you're talking about. This is fascinating. When we realize, right, that God and the devil are one and the same, because necessarily that has to
Yes,
be the
sir.
case. That has to be the case, right? Because God created everything, so He must have known what was in store for obviously Himself and the world. But when we write down, if you can see my screen now, can you see my screen? Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
excellent.
No, but
So
I can't see it. Hold on. I don't. Wait a minute.
You tripping, cuz it's on the
Yes,
screen.
man.
you
I'm
can see
telling
it.
you, bro. It's coming, man.
Can
It's
you see it?
coming, man. Yes.
But listen, the
God,
most
Okay,
high
devil,
created
live,
right.
dog. Hear me, Lord.
Excellent. Excellent, man. So let me just talk you through it, right? God. So we understand that God and the devil are one and the same. We have this good and bad in everybody, right? But we reverse the first D of the God and we start the devil with that. So when some instruction jumped out at me, when you look at the center here, what does that remind you of, or what does that ring about? That's the theta, right? That's the theta. And when we look at the
that's a
theta,
0
that's the
point too,
relationship
though.
of the 0 to the 1, which is
Right,
pi.
the 0 point.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's that 0 point. He know it. That's the on and off switch. That's that 0 and that 1. There it
Right.
is, right
And
there
that
in your
go
face.
live, that's deep,
Right.
bro. And
Cool.
then the go live, when that's the 0 point, go live, be
Or go
alive,
live. Go
live.
live or go live. What is live? And then that comes back to what time is. But let me just say Arthur, King Arthur and the 12 Knights of the Round Table are,
Uh,
we forgot how to read the fucking words, right?
Hear
R,
me, bro.
R-T-H-U-R. So what is the TH? The TH is the theta, which represents the immaterial 0 and the material 1. So we are a blend of the material and the immaterial. We are God and the devil in one. You can't
Hear
separate
me.
yourself from anything.
Yeah.
now
Hey, that's what I
listen,
was trying to tell Huey about that. I told you that God and the devil is at the same place at the same time all the time
That's what I
because
tell
he's
you. That's the
always
dark
there.
and the
understand, but
light.
here's what y'all
That's what
gotta
I'm telling you.
understand. But
No,
here's
that's
what
the
y'all
dark
gotta
and the light,
understand.
bro.
Listen,
Excellent.
here's what y'all gotta listen, bro. Here's what y'all gotta understand. The Most High created God and devil. He created good and evil. Or she or whatever it is. The Most High ain't none of that shit. The Most
Right.
High created the devil. He created
You,
God. He
you,
created you. He
you
created
created it.
everything.
You are the most high, drop.
Oh my God, bro. No, something created that. And we can keep saying
Man.
what created that. Now, only thing
Yeah,
Stop.
created
I
that
agree with
is
Huey.
time itself.
No
No, time
separating yourself
itself.
from the Most High, sir. Especially if you have children, you are a creator yourself.
I
So,
understand that part, but something created that whole thing in motion. The whole having
right,
a baby, the whole plants growing, the whole water moving. Something put that in motion.
right.
You
And
did.
it's not us. We the gods and goddesses. We the lords and lordesses.
It's the
Something
spirit within you.
created
See,
that. No.
hang on. We are not human. This is not us. When our body decays and dies, we go back to who we actually are, right?
Tell her, man.
This is what the
Right.
heliocentric material only universe brought to our doorstep. That we all there was the material. There's no rhyme or reason. Evolution is love you shun. So there is a higher purpose, but you can't separate yourself from that, even though it's of course understandable that we want to do that. But we're not to do that. We're advised not to do that. And I think that's fair enough. If we look upon it as the spirit of the creator within all of us, that's a better way than actually looking upon. I think if you adorn a literal Jesus,
Yes.
or you take the Bible literally, you're actually guilty of something you were told not to do, which is to craft idol.
Yes. Other than self.
Well,
Right.
well, that's another thing I was talking about the other day. But I will consider us a God, but not the God. That's where you get your the thou. Because I understand that I'm
Not
a
you,
part
okay?
of Him.
I agree, okay.
Whether you're a part of they or we or us or it,
But
whatever
I am not.
it
But
might
I am
be.
not
Listen,
him.
Listen,
I don't
yes,
care
you
what we
are,
a
bro.
part
Listen, let me
of.
show you
Listen,
how.
no, hold on. Let me show you, bro. Listen, everything that's connected, like you saying, everything all the way to the core of what you saying. Something made that, bro. Something.
Listen,
Hmm.
hey, listen. Check this out.
All right.
Check this out. Who, if you wasn't never here, you would have never known, right? Or you would have never known, right?
I don't know that. No, see, no, you gotta
Listen,
say you
hold
don't know
on,
that
man. Listen, bro. You do know
because
that. If you
I
was never
I
here,
can
you
be
would
with
not
God.
know.
I could be with God watching everything else.
You
I don't
are.
know that.
You
I
are
could
God
be in
watching
my other
everything.
form. If you feel
Listen,
that you was already here before, then you can think that because you was already here. You once was, and you're gonna go back to what you once was, relating to where he said you're gonna go back to yourself who you already was before.
and
So
you gonna
if I
keep on doing it. You gonna always be you, who you always was. Just I. You always said I. You just start putting different names to yourself, so you start forgetting
No,
that you
hold
was just
on.
I.
No,
but we saying without inheriting a body skeleton, he still could know what he would know if he was still him, if he was him already.
Exactly. He's still gonna know it, but you don't know that. You just saying that. Now he gonna be here forever because that space that he is, that he ain't what you thinking that he is, he always was. The space in the infinite space. You feel me?
now
He
that
was the
always was.
he was
Hold
the
on,
void
Huey.
I love
space.
it.
Listen,
No,
listen,
hold
bro,
on.
hold
That's the
on.
mic drop. You don't gotta say nothing else. That always was. That's why he says us. So I see where he coming from because it never been different. So, but my point is, what put all of that in motion?
You, bro.
You did,
God,
man. You
Uh,
can't separate
God,
yourself from the
all right. So,
creator.
what made you? Let me ask you in simple terms. What
You did,
made
bro.
you?
Ineffable. It's ineffable. We come
Damn it!
into this world. We come into this world in a divided state, and we are purposefully blocked or blanked, right? So we don't know. But maybe the purpose is to come along that pathway towards realization. So maybe we're not there
Yes.
yet.
You put yourself in a deep sleep so you can go back and go on repeat.
What
Like,
made you?
listen, you did. Your conscious,
Then
your
what
thought,
made you that
your
made you, bro? Listen.
I did. I did.
All
I
right. So,
did, bro.
all right.
Listen,
So
let me
then
tell you,
now we
let me show you, bro.
backtracking. Now
Let
we
me show you,
hustling
bro.
backwards.
Okay, let me show you, bro. Let me show you something real quick, bro. All right. My mom and my pops, right? Right? They
mm-hmm.
wouldn't have been my mom and pops if I wouldn't have been there. If I wasn't the child, they wouldn't have been the mom and the pop. You feel me? Right?
Yeah, true.
Oh, okay, cool. So now you say that they made me, or did I make them? Did the infant come in infant?
They made you.
No. It
And
was
I'm
the trick.
saying, who
I
made
made
all of
them.
y'all?
I made them mama and daddy. They were
No,
just they
I'm asking
listen,
you this. I'm asking you this, Huey. Who made
listen.
all of y'all?
I'm trying to
Who
tell
made
you.
all of
Listen,
y'all?
listen. Thought did. Thought made all of this
So thought
happen.
is the name of the God then, the
No,
most
listen,
high.
bro.
What?
Thought is just in your mind. It's part of something that you are put up under,
So
which was the
that's the most
spell.
high.
Listen,
Thought is
bro.
the most high then.
No,
Look, look,
bro.
look, look. This
No.
is what Sir Drop
Listen.
saying. Look, God made the crayons.
Okay,
Blue
you
and
can't let
red
me
made
answer it
green.
though. Keep
Blue and
asking the
made,
question.
so God made your parents, and your parents
No,
made you.
man, you made your parents. You are God. You were the devil. You are one. You are 0 point. You were the original one that they never really wanted no one to know. You
You are
the only listen, bro. Hear me out 1 second, bro. You the only one came through the egg, right? At your time in your space, right? You the only one that's gonna go out. You came in with your own world, bro. Is that hard to
And
fathom?
that's why
but
you were God. But the
look,
most high created gods and goddesses, glorious and
Bro,
rulers.
you did when you split yourself apart and you bring yourself back together, bro.
When you
You
get
knew that
you, listen,
you listen,
When
bro.
you get you, listen, when you get you and I and all that, Something made that,
Listen, you
and
did.
something
You
else
Listen,
listen.
made that. That made
even
that.
from
You
just
can't get
using your
away from
common
making
sense,
that.
even
You
using
can't
your
get away
common
from what
sense
made what, man.
from
Till
a
you get to
biblical
the
Listen, bro.
Most
aspect.
High, and that's at the end of the paradigm, man.
Ain't no
Hey,
Till
hey,
most
the
hey,
high
from a
like y'all.
biblical
This is how
aspect, how
y'all
they
go out
say
the box.
the devil
Listen,
can
bro.
whisper
You
in your
can't
ear.
go out the
If
box
you the
and go back
devil, you
in the
can't
box.
whisper in your own ear. Don't you know
What?
that
You
from a
can't
biblical?
whisper in your own ear. What you mean you can't whisper in your own ear? You
Your
can't
lips
talk to
can't reach
yourself.
your ear. From a biblical aspect,
Oh,
when they say
bro.
the devil whisper in your ear, you think you that
All right,
devil that's
let
whispering
me
in your
take
own
y'all to
ear.
elementary, man. Remember the song that
So,
hip bones connected to the leg bone, the
wow, bro.
leg bones connected to the thigh bone, and that shit all the way go all the way through all the way through life, right? It's
Life
something
as you know
that
it, though,
put
bud. Life as you
everything
know
in
it, sir.
motion, man. Listen, I don't care if you're saying you, I, us, we made ourselves. It's something that made us make ourselves, and this question will never be answered. This how you
Right.
get Alpha
I
to
It's
agree.
the
Omega,
all seeing
Well,
eye,
infinity.
bro.
This how you
The
get.
all seeing eye,
Never
bro.
mind,
You,
bro.
the sun
Never
did it,
mind.
bro. I did it, bro. I did it. The moon did it. Whoever did it, I did it, right? Nobody did it but it. The thing that it was did it. You did it, bro. You controlled
But
it. When you came in and you
something
made,
made it, man.
you
Something
did.
made it, and you can never. It never stops. This is where you get infinite. This is where you get alpha and omega. There's no
yeah.
Okay, so
beginning.
did you
Listen,
come in at an infant, bro? Was you infinite when you came in this bitch? Drop.
from modern language, yeah.
So
But I'm
listen, bro.
already knowing
All
I'm in
you
like
dealing with,
39
oh, hold
bodies
on,
right
bro.
now,
Listen,
bro.
bro.
I'm
The
See,
on
I'm
only
glad
reason
you
why you
said
39
saying
bodies
modern
right
infinite,
language.
now.
You
only
can't,
reason why you
Listen,
saying infinite is by modern day language. So
but
then, by my,
that's
oh
just a
my
riddle,
God,
bro.
bro. Oh my
That's just
God.
a riddle, though, man. That's a
listen,
riddle.
man.
Oh man.
That's
Man. If
that's
ever
a riddle, man. That's
That
only
don't
It
make
that's
ain't a
no
riddle,
riddle,
fuck
bro.
the riddle. Let me ask
look.
him this.
You can
Let me
say
ask you this,
infantry.
Huey.
So what infantry
Hey,
have something to
hold on,
do
stop
about
right
that?
quick. I
Nothing,
wanna,
right? But
my
it's
bad,
sound like
bro. I just wanna ask Huey this. Do you say there's a beginning to time?
Bro, everything was at 0 point. There's no beginning at time. Time is just a
All right,
figure of
so we saying
imagination.
the
Hold
same
on,
thing.
listen. Time is nothing but me in it and it. That's it.
All right,
Time is
and you
nothing but
want to
me
know
and
how?
it.
Now let me tell
Me
That's
you
it.
eight.
how
Me
though.
eight. Me
I'm
eight.
telling you how. Listen, Huey, this is how though. You right, and this is how. Because something came from something, came from something, came from something, and it never stops. Something created something. Now listen, whatever put that thing in
No, man.
motion is
Something
the
came
most
from
high,
nothing,
man.
bro.
Mic drop, bro. I'm done talking about it. Cause you know
No,
that's a mic drop.
no.
Whatever
see,
put
Something
look,
that
came
but
from
thing in
nothing,
but
bro.
motion,
but but
stop.
anyways, like how you were saying
Never
infant
mind, man.
infantry and
No, hold on,
infinite,
man. Something came from nothing, bro. Something came from nothing.
And the most high created both of
and
them.
then nothing was dirt. It was sand. That's the nothing. That
Was
that
you
that that
nothing? Did you
that's the
come from
nothing.
nothing?
Hey,
Was
that's
you
why. Hey,
nothing?
hey. So, hey, now why I'm talking about riddles? Some that maybe we ain't shit. Maybe the
I,
nothing.
listen, I tell them all the time that I'm not shit. That I ain't shit. I'm a piece of shit. I'm a piece of all shit.
Hey, well, that's a
Literally.
good thing when you use. Well, I mean,
Well,
metaphorically with this with
well,
saying.
hang on, friends. Hang on. Let me say something. Let me say something.
Hey man, this shit fun as hell, man.
Hang on.
You ain't
Hang
get
on. Let
that
me say
shit
something.
live as fuck.
Hang
Run
on,
us
sir.
silly as fuck.
Let me say
Dude,
something.
like
Right.
man,
Let
let's
me
get
say
back to the
something.
bill, bro. Right
All
now,
right. Let
bro.
me
Get
say
back to
something.
the
Right.
bill, bro.
All right,
Okay.
listen. Let me say something, and maybe all sides might get a little sort of glimpse into my thinking. Anyway, what I say right now, coming this far, all we can know in Aristarchus is all we can know on Earth, and it's all we need to know. Aristarchus is the decapitated or bifurcated tree of life. We can see it everywhere, and beyond that, the questions that you asked there, sir, they're deeper questions. There's no sort of answering to one degree. But I like Huey's approach that we can't separate ourselves from anything. All there is, in one way, is ourselves. But yeah, when I mentioned Aristarchus, you talked about the dust. Science tells us we're from stardust, right? Religion tells us we're from the dust of the ground in Genesis 2. Well, what's the dust of the ground? The dust implies destruction of something. The tree of life was being cut. That's Aristarchus. Aristarchus, you can see now your own self everywhere, but primarily from the moon, which Aristarchus is described by modern science as the most mysterious crater on the most mysterious object, the moon, in our universe, right? So if it's all a game of clues, we have to follow the clues and get the context right for ourselves as individuals. But this is an excellent sort of discussion, excellent sharing of ideas, and lots of difficult questions as well, right?
Yeah.
And what's deep about that, let me say this right quick, okay? What's deep about that is the luminaries what grow everything. Like say you
Right,
grow say you growing anything, you growing marijuana, right? It need the northern lights, it need the star, and that's why they say we come from stardust. This is where you get
right,
astrology from and astronomy and all this. How was the sky aligned? Because you was enlightened as a baby,
right.
and the way the stars was aligned,
Star child.
how it
This is why
raised
the word.
right.
This is why the word star is put inside our consciousness. Star refers to Aristarchus. It's a literal crater, but also
He's saying it.
Aristarchus. Hang on, please. Just to tie in the story. How they tied in the story, right? Is a game of truth for you. The originator of the heliocentric model, the first person to put the sun at the center and the spherical Earth and spherical planets, etc., rotating around, was someone called Aristarchus of Samos. Now, that man didn't exist, but he's a literary creation, which is a part and parcel of this greater game of life that we're here to unravel and come out with my story, mystery, right?
Hear
It
me.
really is.
Hey,
Tell him.
Straight
Tell
out
him
of
again.
Holland,
Tell
Peace,
him
man.
what's his
again.
name?
Hold on.
Aristarchus? How you spell that?
Aristarchus. Look up. I'll show you crater Aristarchus. Let me share a
Let
screen
me
as well.
Yes.
and let me ask you a question, man. Do you know who Mel Chesler or Mel Cheslark is?
No, bud. I can't say I do.
Right now, now listen, you gonna hear this from me, but I got it from my OG. Mel Chesler or Mel Chesler was cursed to never die. This guy is still walking around to this day in the same age he was forever. Look it
Ouch.
up. It's kind of deep, and I don't even know why I said that. I guess that was a
No, no,
sign
that rings a bell.
right.
Another character. It rings a bell. I can't remember his name offhand now, but a European character. But Mel Chesner, is it Chesner? Um, the Count. What's his name? The Count. I'll think of it now. But another immortal figure that seems to span is the swathes of history, and doesn't age. What you're looking at on the screen, by the way, is Aristarchus. This is if you once you understand the moon is a reflection, right? The moon is a reflection of the sun. One is the same size as the other. The moon goes missing for 3 days every month in the new moon. It just can't be detected at all. That's because it's not there. The moon is a reflection of something that is of the sun. What's most important is the reflective medium, which is a energized watery barrier. So it's a reflective barrier of a certain contour. This is what's important. Getting back to the moon itself, when we realize, or at least I realized this a long time ago, right, that all the craters are one crater. It's just a sort of kaleidoscopic hall of mirrors like expression. So it's all
Hold
jumbled up.
on, stop right quick. Let me ask you something right quick. You can finish building. You said the moon is absent from somewhere on the earth for 3 days.
Yeah. Every month, the sun, when the new moon, right? So just look up new moon and you'll see that
Hold
it's,
on,
it,
hold on, hold on. Now here's what I'm asking you. So
yeah.
would that explain why the sun and the moon is in the sky at the same time in different areas? Because it's absent from somewhere else.
No, 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 no. This is a different thing. This is something universal. Nobody can find the new moon for 3 days at the every month, 3 days. So we have the different phases of the moon. Then we see the crescent of the moon, and then it builds up to the half moon, full moon, and then back reverse the cycle. What it is a reflection. One is a reflection of the other, but the contour of the reflective surface is what's all important. Now we live in the outer barrier, where this is the northern and southern lights, the aurora borealis, australis, where the barrier meets the ground, and then it's low at the north, low at the south, and the highest points along the equator. But it's only 60 miles wells up, right? So we have to sort of stop thinking in terms of a dome in the way it's presented by the likes of Mark Sargent. So yeah, but getting back to the moon. So yeah, when we understand that not when I say when we understand, I'm just saying, right, just phrases, figure of speech, that all
Mhm.
craters are one crater. And I said long since realized this and reduced everything down to the crater you're seeing on screen at the minute, Aristarchus. This is the most fascinating picture you'll ever examine in your whole life, my friends. If you were to bet your house on this, sir, or Huey, or Killer, if you were to bet your house on this, you would say that that crater is distending. It's going inwards, I'm betting. It's going inwards. It's something that's going into a hollow in the ground. Whereas
So
I will say to you,
explain
well,
this.
I
All
would
right,
say, fair enough.
explain this then. Explain this. Why sometimes I can see stars behind the moon and through them
Right, because
same craters you talking about.
no, the moon is a reflection. So what you're looking at is a kaleidoscopic reflection of one crater alone, which is this Aristarchus. This is why Aristarchus is put as the founder of the heliocentric model, where everything is just about the material world. Now we're exiting that. Aristarchus has been revealed by me, right? But I know the story is already written. But if you were to bet which way that this crater does it extend towards us or distend into the picture, what way would you bet? You bet your house that it goes inwards, right? I'll
Yeah,
remind you that
that right.
I'll remind you that the moon rotates
Yep.
180 degrees through your night. So as we rotate, it's 180 degrees. Now I'd ask you to bet again which way that it does it extend or distend, and you're going to say, "Hang on, I'm taking my money back and putting it on extending out of the screen." So the point is,
No, I'm still think
we're dealing with reflections that need decoding, need understanding. But this image is, if you spend the rest of your life looking at this, it wouldn't be long enough because you're looking at the universe, my friends. That's the best I can say. That's the most
so
simplest
you
I can put it.
saying hold up. No, what you saying is never mind the pictures they give us, right? If you look at the moon, you looking at the reflection of what we living on. That's the
Yeah, but how can you explain? I can look directly at the moon, and sometimes it's oranges or oranges reddish.
You know
How
what that
Right.
is, y'all?
I know
Y'all
what
know
that
what
is.
that is?
Yeah.
Y'all know
Yeah.
what I see right there?
Right.
Y'all know what I
What?
really see right there?
Go on, bud.
I see a fucking eyeball.
I love it, bud. Do you also see the sperm within the egg?
Yeah, the sperm inside the
Excellent,
egg
bud.
and all of that. You see all of that. That's nothing but the ripple effect. But the moon and the sun is nothing but a reflection of what they are reflecting of.
Excellent,
You,
bud.
literally, they your eyes in the sky.
Excellent.
They are your
Excellent.
eyes, the all-seeing eyes, your
listen,
skies
man.
that roam upon you, that
Now let me
always
tell you.
follow you and roam you. These are your eyes. They always watching you. It's nothing but a spell that we are up under. Once you realize that we're up under the spell, right? That's where y'all gonna really start tripping,
Huey,
right?
Huey, there's
Now
the
here's
all-seeing
what's
eye, bud.
happening, man.
Hey,
Huh?
Listen, here's
hey,
what's
hey,
happening.
Huey, sir, there's the all-seeing eye. There's the
Yes,
all-seeing eye, and you
yes,
can actually see that eye. You can actually see that eye in the clouds. Did you know that the
yes.
clouds are not random and chaotic? No, the clouds form in a circular band, and also there's repeating cloud patterns on a daily basis, Earth-wide. The same patterns that you will experience, I will experience as well. This is because there's a pattern being expressed, and this is what the ether
And it's
is
a
as well.
reflection of the
Yeah,
all-seeing eye, which is the other
like
eye that's in the
tornadoes.
sky. And
Right.
this beacon, guess what these other two eyes is
Let me
beacon off
make
of?
it for
What
real.
Polaris is. So these three skies are the trilogy that make up a pyramid, right? It's the sun, the moon, and Polaris, right? These three stars, right? Up in the skies are nothing but reflection of each other, just binging off each other from all
Excellent, bud.
around the motherfucker realms. Because check
Huey,
check this out.
But now
Each
is
one
a
of
listen.
us
beacon
got
off
rays.
Polaris?
Each one of us
Now
got rays.
listen.
Each one of us is Polaris, right? Each one of us is our own Polaris, or our own star line, or our own skyline, our own everything. That's why when you turn and look at the sun, you look at it. I don't gotta look at your sun. Your sun gonna move when you move. It's a
right.
difference.
It's an observer
No,
dependent
but what
reflection.
he's saying
But
is
let me just say
what
to
he's
Huey
saying.
about
Hold up, man.
Polaris.
Hold on, bro. Y'all ain't gonna just keep grabbing the mic and going back and
Yeah, but
forth
hang on. Let
like
me just say
doing
this,
the
sir.
bit.
Let me just say one thing. I'll
No,
shut up
you
then because
ain't
he mentioned
going now. Hold
Polaris.
up right
Hang on,
quick,
I'm going to
bro.
keep saying it, right, because it's important. Huey, so you
Man,
mentioned
bro.
Polaris and the sun and the moon. Well,
I'm not here
Polaris
for
itself
this
is a
shit.
reflection, right? And what is the
Him.
source of that reflection that's earthbound?
You.
Aristarchus. There's your clue, bud. Off you go,
Yes.
sir.
And you are the rock star. You are the star. You are the one that keep everything grounded, and you can see it from here. That's how you can see it so clear. Because you the one who can only see it. It's only in your eyesight. It's only in your
Right.
mind. It's only in your timeline. It's
Yeah,
something that
but
you created to create for
you
your
can't see
time.
Polaris from the southern hemisphere.
Bro,
I'll
you can
tell you
see it
that.
from where you at. You gonna see whatever you gonna see through
Not if
you.
I'm standing in the southern hemisphere, I can't see it.
Oh man, you gonna see it wherever you at, man. The
I,
southern hemisphere is just somewhere where him is fear. It's
hey,
somewhere south where him
I
is
will
fearing.
bet my
He's
house on
scared to
it.
go inside himself south. That's where he don't. He only want to go north in him fear. In
Hey,
his
I'll
fear.
bet my house on it. If I can get in this, if you can see it, the Polaris from the southern hemisphere, I bet you can.
What is the southern hemisphere? Him, sir, or a sow, or a soul, or a soap, or soap. He just shows you what the TH is. It's letting you know that you are it. And so that'll
Right.
take you out. It'll show
Hey,
you the OU, the South. You got to deal
hey,
with the
Huey.
word, the soul, right? Now check this out. And then when you do it, him, you, him, it is what it is. I, him, he, I am, him, is,
Excellent.
what is a fear? Fears. What is fears? What is fears? Fears are things that you have to come overcome.
But the
Hear
book
me?
tells you
Fears
that
even
you are
have
not
ears
him,
in them.
though.
Fears
But
have ears in them like beers have
no,
beers in them, and ears have ears in
You
them.
said you know a lot
Listen,
about the
bro.
Bible. You know that you
Oh,
are
man.
not him.
hang on,
Why
hang on,
not?
Huey. You also have a left and a right hemisphere in terms of your brain, right? That's very important.
Or a north or a south, or you just got a brain. Once your brain become one, it don't separate. It's like one
Yeah,
whole thing again. You hear me? It's like your whole
it
body.
separates
It's
as
like
we
when you
live,
can't
Charlie.
connect with
I'll tell
everything. When
y'all
that
something, Moshe.
separate, you at zero. You
The right
straight
Right.
at
hemisphere of
zero.
my brain almost shut down the other day. I was fucked up. I couldn't even get on the live. I was
Yeah,
feeling
man, you
like
got.
I was about to have a stroke.
And
Your
listen,
brain is
because
still
you
fucked
know
up,
what
man.
people
You
do,
think you
right?
live on a spinning ball.
We operate with our right or our left side of our with our right side of our brain, right? More than or our left side of our brain, right? We operate with our left side of our brain more than our right. Most people, right? So then when you start operating with your right side of your brain, you be like, God damn. And you start doing other things like creative things. You start seeing yourself in another light, right? But then when you realize that you can walk the crevices of where the X marks the spot, which is the point, the 0 point where your fucking where your hole is at, your soft spot, right? Right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
button right there. These
Right.
buttons are meant to be pushed. When you start pushing in these buttons, right? And then you can take that button all the way down from the top of your head or from the back of your shit, and then it'll run down the back of your spine, right? And you will feel all the buttons in line, right? It's the same shit like fucking what they was showing you in the Matrix, right? But then you run it down the front, you're gonna see how the buttons go. You got a nose, you got a mouth, you got a throat, you got a fucking heart, you got all of this shit right here. You know, all that shit that run down the center of your shit. You feel what I'm saying? Is your buttons. Not only there, right? You'll realize, God damn, I got some more money, more buttons than just the belly button, right?
Yeah.
Right? And buttons are meant to be pushed. This is why I'm the soul controller. A controller is what? Like a remote controller. Remote is a mote, to be mote, or be emotable. Or remotable to be emotable. You hear me? So when you know that you are a soul, hold the soul. And then you can control. What is a con? Sort of like a con man or something like this. So when we dealing with controllers, right, then we talking about people who come in and try to troll us, right? What are
I like it, man. I like it.
right? So where are you trollers or are you rollers? Some be like shit. They be claiming the games. They be like they roller 60s. You know, they be like roller skating or roller blading. What kind of troll are you? You know what I mean? So,
See,
God, when you know that you control and you know how to push motherfuckers buttons, it's the difference. What push buttons? Frequencies, fingers, buttons. Fingers are buttons that meant to be pushing what? Buttons. You can push eternal and immortal buttons without having to push computer buttons or telephone buttons or any of the other buttons that they gave, because telephone buttons wasn't nothing but like for you to be telecommunicating, buttons for you to communicate
So,
on the telephone,
so
but you can literally
do you
telepathically
think
communicate from.
our phones running
Listen,
off satellites that's floating in space?
you are the sats. You sats added light.
I mean, if you don't think it's space,
You are space, bro. Space is in between you, your body, your ribs,
you don't
your
think
face, your nose,
something's
your
out
eyes.
there
Then they say in the book, right?
anywhere.
Look, they told you in the book that Moses split the sea, right? Right?
Yeah.
You like that book, right? What if you didn't know that they were saying Moses, but they meant that your nose split what you see, like your two eyes, which is water. So it split the immortal waters in between you, right? Noses. What if you had Moses right in front of your face and you never known
The
Moses?
Bible would tell me that would be a foolish interpretation. That's what
Why
God
would
told.
that be a foolish interpretation when your nose split your sea? Literally.
Because the only thing that can bring it to reality is stating that there always was a time and place for everything. And
It's
even in
all,
life, and even in our short lifespan, we will always find out that it's a time and place for everything. And around that time, it was different type of sorcery. It was different type of things happening
sorcery. I like
that
that.
wouldn't happen today.
So
But
sorcery. Let's deal with sorcery, right? So okay, back then it was different type of sorcery, right? So they was dealing with sorcery back there, which was dealing with what? Spells again. So the Bible was dealing with time when there was writing spells or sorcery. Not I said it, you said it. Now, I've been telling you that you're dealing with spells, all the veil, trying to unveil the veil. But you want to run circles around your own tail and don't want to listen to the tales. Listen, bro. Listen, bro. Hear me out. I didn't just say this. Upon your words, and then you would turn around and you change it away, right? But you just said that back in the days, they was dealing with a whole different type of what? Sorcery.
yeah,
You're caught,
yeah,
killer. He kind of caught you, but I mean, it's
yeah.
not about
yeah. I
catching
mean,
anybody.
it was always a time and place for everything.
Oh, okay. It's the
Were you
time
there,
they
bud? Were you there?
listen, bro. I'm telling you, but they was dealing with sorcery back then, so they can have you in place for this time now. Now they were told you in the Bible that somebody could speak the Bible and he would sound like the devil because he would be going against what the Bible said. But the Bible was back then dealing with
It's true.
spells, and when you open up the book, is where the witchcraft deal with what spells. All the fucking witches did what to go get the spells? Went to the what
But
book.
was the Bible right
Hold
about
on,
these
man.
priests
I'm
fucking
asking
little
just a
boys
straight
and
up
shit?
question, bro. I just want you to follow along with me in a fair way. Don't give me a
Okay.
roundabout way. Did witchery not go to books to get the book to get their spells, bro?
Okay.
Huh?
Say that
Feel it up?
again.
Did witches not go to the book to get the spells?
No, 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 no,
Oh,
no.
mercy. Not gonna be honest, bro. I don't like. Come on, man. Be fair. Be fair. Be fair. Did
No.
the a lot of mercy.
There's never been no history of a witch getting a Bible to get a
I didn't
spell.
say. I said, did they not go to a book to get the spells? The witcheries have books that was full of spells.
I mean, if you want to call it a book, but you know,
Oh man, Lord of mercy.
I mean, you know, they had
Come on,
scrolls
man.
and shit like that. I mean, I guess
Okay,
that's a
a
book.
scroll.
I guess that's a book. I
You
mean,
hear me,
I'm a
bro?
realist,
A
but
scroll or a tablet. Hey,
I
bro,
had to
listen, bro. What
legislate
if they had a
Sophie.
tablet or a stone, bro? Fuck a scroll.
Okay,
What if they wrote it on a stone? What if they wrote it on a stone? Right?
okay.
Was it
Okay.
not? Did they go to the stone to get what? The spells, right?
But those spells probably didn't work, right?
Lord have mercy, man. Lord have mercy, bro. You
Witches.
are,
Hey, you gotta know where
bro.
you
This
at.
is
It's a certain place,
terrible,
a certain
bro.
time. Look,
Lord of
The
mercy.
time you're talking about is like
Oh
after
man.
Jesus.
Dumbass
You talk
witches,
about
right?
after Jesus and niggas casting spells on niggas turning them to goblins or some shit like that.
Dumbass dyslexic witches, right?
Yeah, you know that it ain't no witches brew and all that. Now you let America.
Lord of
You know
mercy,
you
man.
talking from a scary book that somebody done read you when they had the richest brew.
You like
I'm
You
just
had to
saying.
go
masochists.
get the
You
Hey,
book.
a witch is a
You
witch.
had
Did
to
they?
go get
Hold
the
on,
book, so
man.
you had to
Hold
get the
on, bro.
chicken
Hold
foot,
on, man.
chicken
You
feet.
can't listen, bro. You can't tell me that witch is not a witch, right? Whether you spelling it WHICH or WITCH, right? Witch is witch, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, when we talking about a choice, we dealing with which. Which one you choosing to utilize in your mind for the spelling is what you choose to use. Now, which now you telling me that witchery is not well. Spells is not well either when they taught us to spell. So I can't deal with spells when they taught me to spell. This is where it be fuckery at. Because, okay, is witchery real? Is voodoo real? Is witchcraft real? Or is it not? Why did they give us two words that showed us how different it was? The same thing like days. Days, it can be DAYS. Or it could be DAZE to be in the fucking days. Now, do days exist or do just days that we live in exist? Which one? I can't tell by the spell. You telling me that I can't go by what they're telling us now. Only by what you choose to say was right or wrong. This is where it's fucked up at with me, man.
But listen,
Cause you
let's use common sense.
this is hold
If you
on.
cast a
If that
spell
is
on
not
somebody,
common
listen.
sense, bro.
Common
If that
sense tell
wasn't
you if you cast a spell on somebody or if that person shoots you, which is gonna be worse? You gonna go to jail? The motherfucker gonna go to jail for shooting you? You would be a fool, and the Bible tell you don't be a fool. You would be a fool to think you can cast a spell to where you could have used your generator and generated that mind power into something else positive than trying to do that. That's blocking your mind. That's putting you in a certain
boy,
state.
man, that's terrible, bro.
Listen,
I mean,
if the spell is about the word, so if a word can be used to pull a veil illusion over your eyes, well then it is magic, it is great power. I think ultimately in the beginning was the word, right? Everything
yeah, the
as
word.
Huey so wisely says comes back to the sound. Days you can interpret one way, but
Women.
someone else might be interpreted another way, and that will give them the advantage over you. This is what the legal name fraud is all about. But listen, can I just say it's been a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm going to go because I have a feeling that Sir is pissed off with me for over talking him. But I had to get that point in about Polaris to you, Huey, especially,
Oh
which
no,
is
he's not.
Polaris.
Sir not mad, bro. You good, bro. You good. You ain't got to go
Okay,
nowhere, bro.
okay.
You straight.
I
Yes,
was just getting
sir.
that
He was
point
trying
in
to get
about
back in.
Aristarchus being the source of Polaris. But listen, on that note, I'm gonna bow out and say it was a great pleasure to speak to you, friends, and hopefully we'll do it again.
Oh man,
So
pleasure, man. Pleasure, bro. Pleasure,
Oh
excellent.
yeah,
honor,
yeah. Pleasure having you
gratitude.
on, my brother. Yeah. Shit. I'm gonna add you on here, my brother.
Good. Excellent, and thank
And
you for
good.
the hospitality. And listen, love to all. Okay, all
All
Yes,
right,
around.
sir.
much
Yes,
love,
sir.
bro.
Same to you, brother. Yes, man. Yes,
Yes.
brother. That's a great brother, man. Lot of mercy. We
Hey,
working
shit.
on you. You a work in progress. You a great brother too, though. I ain't mean
Oh,
that to no harm.
are you a great brother too, man? Shit, that's what we got to do. We got to build and make, man. Well,
Yeah,
shit, my
man.
brother. I appreciate you having on, man. I'm gonna close down shop. You know, I'll get at you in a little bit. You know how we do it.
All the time, man. All the time, bro. Support, man. Make sure y'all, man, hit the thumbs up, bro. Y'all come on and hit the thumbs up, bro. It don't matter if we got 2, 3 people in, bro. Everybody should hit the thumbs up. Drop, go hit the thumbs up. Y'all hit the thumbs up, man. Or hit the thumbs down. Just give us a reply, man. Let us know that you was here. All right. Shout out to K.Z.U.P, man. One love.
All right, much love, my brother. Peace.